It's been 2 Ayatollahs since my previous video covering this, but apparently Iran has attacked our bases in Iraq. Iran is crying, begging for peace while attacking us, and the Donald is not really having any of it. Because the Knicks lost in New York City yesterday, all of a sudden, hoodlums of one very specific ethnic background, it's probably a coincidence, are literally lighting things on fire and causing mayhem and chaos in the streets. Horrific scenes coming from London as diversity once again proves it is not our greatest strength, and the entire country is coming together, both England and Ireland too, coming together to basically tear down the government because they've had enough. This one's really brutal. What? A Muslim again? I can't believe it. And speaking of the Muslims in England are having meltdowns over Pride Month, it's truly a dastardly video today. Definitely subscribe every day, another deep dive on new things, and in honor of Pride Month,
12% of men who have sex with other men 1 or more times a week have problems where they are not able to control their bowel movements.
bro.
Because when you...
No, why? If it's healthy, if it's perfectly healthy.
But it's natural, All right, dude. Happy Pride Month. Every day we cover the news in the least homosexual way possible. Updates on the war front. A reporter asks the Donald, did you ask Netanyahu not to hit back? For context, Iran bombed Israel 2 nights ago. Every single one of their missiles were deflected and intercepted. Israel struck back, blew the crap out of them, I'm not exaggerating, and wiped out a couple of their remaining leaders. Then, of course, Iran puffs out its chest, and it's like, we have showed the Zionist entity how they suffer. America couldn't stop us. Meanwhile, every single one of their missiles failed, and in retaliation, they got completely eviscerated. So the Donald wants a deal, so he does not want a war, restarting right now. So they asked the Donald, did you, tell him to stop hitting back?
Up immediately upon signing, which could be in 2 or 3 days.
Did you ask her not to hit back? Did you ask her not to?
No, I said
Did you ask Netanyahu not to hit back?
do what's right, but I want you to stop as quickly as you can, because they have to stop. It's had to do with Lebanon, and it has to stop. We want to get it finished.
Yeah, so he says, no, of course they should hit back. They were struck, they should hit back, which they did. It was based. Killing terrorists, it's awesome, actually. A lot of people try to psyop you into thinking that you should feel bad for the terrorist, pedophile, goat molesters, but personally, I actually think it's awesome when we coordinate with our allies and obliterate terrorist pedophiles. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But the Donald said, do it quickly, and they did it quickly, and then they stopped, because the Donald told them to stop. It's almost like we control Israel, and it's not the other way around. So weird. Now, Iranian official to Al Jazeera, Tehran, says U.S. revisions to the draft are unacceptable. Warning, an agreement cannot be reached without sanctions relief and access to frozen funds. Well, the Donald is not willing to do that. Now, you see, I think that to some extent, we are witnessing one of the greatest good cop, bad cop campaigns we have ever witnessed on the world stage, with the Donald be the good cop, arms stretched, Bubba, come, my friend, Bubba, we'll make a deal, it'll be great. And then Israel fucking bombs the shit out of them. Listen, man, I think that this might be part of the strategy. I'm not gonna lie. Now, the IRGC, that's Iran's regime retard corps, launched a major attack on U.S. bases in Iraq. Of course, breaking the ceasefire, which, because, they're terrorists. They do that, actually. And while I do believe that Trump actually does have a grasp of what we're dealing with, an actual, theocratic terrorist regime, an apocalyptic worldview, in a death cult that literally are willing to die for the sake of killing us, I think Trump actually knows what he's dealing with, which begs the question, what kind of deal could possibly exist? that would make sure that this threat is neutralized forever. We don't want to be doing this again. Of course, the Houthis in Yemen, they're launching suicide drones against southern Israel. Basically, all of them blew up themselves. Almost all of them malfunctioned and died. At the same time, Hezbollah launched drones at northern Israel. Now, the interesting twist of this entire event, so this is the Yemeni people doing Hitler salutes. Again, if Hitler got up out of his grave and he saw this shit, his major supporters were 67 IQ inbred retards, he'd probably kill himself again. But the reality is, I personally think that these guys are not anti-Semitic. They only criticize the government of Israel, I'm sure. Yeah, now the IDF has eliminated an armed terrorist who crossed into Israel from Lebanon. So we have Lebanon missiles flying into Israel. We have terrorists trying to jump over the border and getting eliminated based. Man, I wish our border patrol was as good as Israel's. I'm not going to lie. This shit's sick. And the crazy twist is, and a lot of people are starting to say this, the IRGC made a major fumble by tying Hezbollah to any future deal with the U.S. That decision is being used against them heavily. From what I'm seeing, Israel has never been more determined to dismantle Hezbollah, you know, a terrorist organization that's been shooting missiles at them for like 40 years. The thinking appears to be simple, and it really is. God damn. If the Iranian regime insists on making Hezbollah part of the equation, then Hezbollah becomes the target. Israel wasn't able to finish the job against the IRGC yet. It's using this opportunity to focus on overwhelmingly military pressure on Iran's most important proxy sitting on its border. All right, the result is an intensified campaign to completely wipe out Hezbollah from southern Lebanon. Based, actually. All right, Hezbollah killed 240 of our Marines. I'll never forget that, as long as I live. All right, fuck these guys, these terrorist goat fucking retards. I'm glad that they're getting eliminated. That's awesome, actually. And you know what? I'm really glad that we have an ally that's actually capable enough to do this without us needing to get involved at all, and potentially much deeper into Hezbollah's largest stronghold in Beirut as well. In fact, Israel just approved strikes on Beirut for any Hezbollah fire that crosses into Israel. Big miscalculation by Tehran, all right? So it seems like Iran is like, if you bother the Hezbollah terrorists, then you bother us. And Israel is like, okay. And then they continue, and Hezbollah keeps firing rockets into Israel. Israel eliminates Hezbollah. Iran gets pissed, shoots missiles. They all get intercepted. In retaliation, Israel wipes out their leaders. They cry uncle. Trump says, boys, calm down, boys. Calm down, boys. Yeah, of course you can fight back every once in a while, but let's still make a deal. You know, the good cop, right? That's us. We're the good cop here. And it's pretty wild watching this tag team actually go down. Now, I do think that ultimately, our objectives and Israel objectives are overlapping a lot, but they do not align completely. From Trump's perspective, I think if he is super confident that Iran will never actually pose a threat to the United States, ever, then he's done. But as far as Israel goes, I think they really want a regime change in Iran. The overlap, obviously, is this is a regime of pedophile terrorists that are killing both our soldiers, our civilians, and Israelis, and the Iranians, too. I think this is a net moral good without even a shadow of a doubt. Massacring 40,000 of their own people and shutting off the internet so you can't hear them scream. Just like actually cartoonishly evil. Like this is like the tragic anime backstory. And I grew up on the fucking terrorist regime. They shut off the internet. They killed 40,000 people begging for help. There was nothing that we could do. Like this is unironically a tragic anime backstory happening in front of our eyes. And for some reason, the entire media has decided to side with Iran because they hate Trump so much. So JD had some interesting things to say on Fox News that were a little bit perturbing, I'm not going to lie. And we're going to talk about them.
So how concerned are you about Israel spying on the United States and freelancing in Lebanon?
Well, look, I think obviously the Israelis and the Israelis and the United States, we have a lot of
Freudian slip.
Shared interests, but we also have some situations where our interests diverge. And I think where the president has been very clear here is that while Israel obviously has some objectives that it has, the United States' main objective in Iran is to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. And we've actually, thanks to what's happened over the last few months, but really over the last year and a half, we've created the space necessary where the president believes, and I think that he's right, that we can get the long-term settlement to Iran's nuclear deal.
All right.
Now, Israel may like that,
work?
they may not like that. But
it sounds like Obama 2.0 so far. Like, so what's going to actually happen to stop Iran? Because I don't trust their pinky promises. All right. They rape children on an industrial scale. I don't actually take their word for it. Like, what are we going to have in place that stops this shit?
Fundamentally, we think this is in the best interest of the United States of America. So we're going to keep on pursuing it because that's what the President of the United States was elected to do. That's what we have to do in order to properly serve the American people.
Do you think the Iranians are trying to play us at the negotiating table?
Well, I think, Jesse, everybody's always trying to play everybody. I think the president's attitude on this is we have to verify, of course. One of the most important things to whether this ultimate settlement is a success is not what the Iranians write on the paper, but whether they actually comply with some of the requirements of the settlement that we come up to. I think it's very important. And this is
if they comply. if they comply, well, we're leaving it in their hands?
One of the big differences, you always hear people talk about the Obama deal and what went wrong with it. The number one thing that went wrong with the Obama deal, Jesse, is that there was not a proper inspections regime to ensure that the Iranians could never build a nuclear weapon. And that's one of the big differences between what happened then and what the President of the United States would get to, assuming we're ultimately able to make a deal.
Right, we'll see what it looks like.
Assume that
Obviously, I think it's way better if we have some sort of inspection. We'll be like, all right, we'll leave the terrorist pedophiles in power. They'll keep making whatever the fuck they will do, but we'll have inspections to make sure they can't actually affect us. I actually understand the sentiment. However, I don't trust them. I don't trust Iran. I really don't. And to be honest, watching the United Nations basically run defense for Iran the entire time, watching our American left-wing media run defense for Iran the entire time, I don't know how much stock I would actually put in whatever it's called, an inspections regime or whatever he wants to call it. I don't know. I feel like J.D. Vance is a good guy, but I don't think he understands exactly what we're dealing with here. I don't think he realizes we're dealing with an apocalyptic terrorist death cult, which is why I'm super happy that he's focusing the majority of his work on domestic issues. I think when it comes to weeding out fraud and abuse and shit, that's great. But I just feel like the actual Ayatollah retard ideology just slips out of his fingers.
Anybody's
he's talking about them. He sounds like hillbilly Obama right now. He sounds like Obama's saying, "Oh, we'll make a deal, and then everything will be good." And then under the deal, Iran was developing nuclear weapons.
In good faith, obviously, we've been very involved in these negotiations.
Yeah, I don't think good faith applies when you're dealing with people whose religious textbook says that you're supposed to lie to the infidels to manipulate them. When taqiyya is a core principle in the people you're up against, I don't actually trust the good faith.
Jesse, we're going to take the attitude of accomplish the president's mission, but verify over the long term that the Iranians are keeping their end of the bargain. It's
great.
A tall order, but it's one.
The thing is, it sounds fantastic on paper. It sounds like we get everything we want. Iran does not end up being a threat to us. I am America first, personally. I think that all of the decisions made by our government should be putting the American people first and foremost every time, which is why I said from the very beginning, I do not want a regime change war. I do not want to sit there, boots on the ground, for 10 years, figuring shit out, installing democracy. I don't want any of that shit. But I do believe in wiping out terrorists that have been trying to kill us for 47 years. I happen to not trust people that lie all the time. Dude, we're in the middle of a ceasefire right now, and they're bombing our bases and our allies everywhere. They just bombed Israel, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia over the last 2 days. They bombed our base in Iraq. I'm not going to lie to you. This is right now, while our entire military is there and they're lying to our faces. I don't actually trust them in the long term. And I feel like J.D. Vance doesn't exactly know what we're dealing with.
The president has put us in a good position to achieve, because let's be honest, Jesse, the Iranians don't want this war to continue. It's not in their best interest. And
who's the Iranians? The regime or the Iranian people? The Iranian people are posting videos, now that the internet's back, posting videos of the streets begging us to arm them because they want a revolution against the Islamic regime torturing them. Again, he's mixing terms, and it's getting me a little amped up. I'm not gonna lie.
I think they're coming to the table, putting some real things on the table. We're of course going to verify it, but if we get to this deal, it's going to be a home run win for the American people.
See, that I believe. And I don't believe that because Vance said it. I believe it because Trump said it. And Trump likes deals. Trump does not like getting manipulated and getting the short end of the stick. So when the Donald says we're going to make a deal and it's going to be good, I do believe that if a deal does happen, it'll be good. I do have faith in the Donald. Ultimately, we'll have to see what the quote-unquote deal entails. We'll have to see what happens. My personal stance is actually the only good terrorist is a dead terrorist. I know that it's not a very accepted position, but thank God we have superior IQ and weaponry, and we don't need to put boots on the ground. We can just fuck these guys up until they wave the white flag. The way I see it, when you enter a war, I'm not advocating to enter wars, but once you enter a war, you need to fucking win. And you either win by total, absolute surrender, or they die. I'm not into this pussyfooting, infinite bullshit concessions game of chicken. If you weren't willing to see it through to the end, to the point that the war is won in one of those two ways I laid out, A, every concession you want, B, they die, it wasn't worth starting the war. Unless, who knows, we get some crazy deal. And that's what I expect from the Donald. I expect to see something insane. Now, Tucker Carlson, of course, his coverage has been insane. His most recent episode implied that Israel tried to kill Trump. I know. He literally spent the last, 3 months talking about how Israel is controlling Trump. On his newest episode is talking about how Israel also tried to kill Trump. I don't even know what to say at this point. Like, this is the most obvious foreign operative I've ever seen in my entire life. By the way, he is literally funded by an Iranian billionaire. For those of you unaware, when he was fired from Fox News, an Iranian billionaire gave him millions of dollars to start up his own show. Now, I know this is going to be a shock to you because you don't need millions of dollars to start up your own show. I use the same exact microphone as he uses and his guest uses on his show. His entire setup does not cost over $1,000. He did not need $1.5 million from Omid Malik, Iranian billionaire. I'm just saying something weird is going on. All right, so this is him and his guest discussing at how maybe Donald Trump's assassination attempt was actually done by Israel.
I don't know the significance of this, but the person who wrote this report, the medical examiner in Pittsburgh who autopsied Crooks, released the body for cremation with fragments and still inside, insists that Zalaponi never hit him, and then doesn't test certain specimens from Crooks.
Yeah, I agree, by the way, the assassination attempt was mega fishy, and I do think it was basically greenlit by the deep state. Don't get me wrong, because Trump is a threat to the deep state, and I agree with that. I don't think Israel tried to kill him, and also Israel is controlling him at the same time. I think that shit's retarded. Anyway, I'm waiting for, let's see the evidence. It's going to be good.
Or didn't put him in his report. This guy is actually a dual Israeli citizen.
Oh, shit, a Jewish doctor. Oh, shit. There aren't a lot of Jewish doctors, so this is huge.
Who was in Israel after October 7th, helping identify the bodies there. So
a Jewish doctor that deals with dead bodies. This is really suspicious. Why was he the one that oversaw the dead body? Are you serious?
You know, again, this
actually,
yeah, this is in the front page of like the Pittsburgh Jewish Chronicle, and he's actually pictured. He's standing next to a guy named Chen Kugel, who is an Israeli and a source of a lot of these dubious claims about beheaded babies.
Did he laugh when he heard beheaded babies?
Yeah, and Goldschmidt's standing right next to him.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe they didn't behead babies. They only massacred them and videoed themselves massacring children. Yeah, much better.
I guess he volunteered and went over there to help. And again, I'm not...
A Jewish doctor going to Israel to volunteer to help Jews after Jews got massacred? This is really suspicious, guys.
He is a dual citizen.
He is a dual citizen, yeah.
You know, like... another 100 million Americans that are all dual citizens.
That's correct.
And he's the medical examiner who did at best an incomplete job.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking questions.
With the autopsy or of the report anyway of Crooks.
Yeah, that's a hell of a 9 or 10 month run for his career to go from, responding to October 7th to autopsying Crooks. And yeah, again, I'm not necessarily suggesting anything, but because he's such a key player, we do need to know.
And he is not the medical examiner that victims, dead people in Butler Township, Pennsylvania would normally go to.
No, not at all. I mean, again, the excuse was that they
may be a doctor that specializes in corpses, but not that corpse.
Had more advanced facilities, but then they do this kind of run-of-the-mill autopsy and toxicology.
So the fireman who was killed at Butler went to the local medical examiner, but Thomas Crooks went to this medical examiner, the dual citizen.
Well, Corey Comparatori was taken to Allegheny County as well, but they've got contradictory excuses where they say they took Corey there to avoid the press attention at the Butler office, and then
Look, I agree that the entire situation is mega shady. But it's like, oh my God, one of the doctors is a dual citizen, a Jewish doctor. Holy shit, this goes far. Anyway, it keeps going like this. They just basically go in circles, But again, this is Tucker Carlson. This compilation just came out like yesterday of him contradicting himself constantly, because nothing is actually what it means with this guy. It's all about the narrative that he could push.
My view is you can kind of tell who's telling the truth. You can smell it.
You've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, you said, could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist?
Could this be the Antichrist?
I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips.
Raised some eyebrows this week when you said that Hamas is more like a political organization than a terror group.
Hamas is a group of jihadis. They're Islamic extremists, which they also claim constantly, which I don't know if that's true, by the way. It seems more like a political organization.
I didn't say that.
The future that I imagine is not a future in which we're yelling at each other about race. It's a future in which people are legitimately revolutionary, maybe even violent.
You said in our previous interview, the future that I imagine is not a future in which we're yelling at each other about race. It's a future in which people are legitimately revolutionary, maybe even violent.
I'm amazed that you have a tape of me saying that, and I just want to disavow it. A lot of young men in America, mostly white, but not exclusively, listen to Nick Fuentes really carefully. This kid is the single most influential figure among young white men, and not just white, actually.
Is that true?
Oh, it's definitely true. Of course, half the thing was about Fuentes, and like, who cares? Fuentes?
There was a lot of Fuentes.
Who cares about Fuentes? Talk about irrelevant.
America's supporting Israel because it's
He's the most important figure ever. No one ever cares about him.
ally.
I don't even know what those words mean. I'm just saying my principle
they're
is
an ally, right? I mean, they both.
I don't know what that means to be an ally.
Qatar is like one of our closest allies in the world. The largest American air base in the Middle East is in Qatar.
Bad.
They're a close ally of ours.
Bad.
I come to Israel,
God.
the infrastructure, we were flying in, and I said to my buddy, I was like, man, first of all, it looks great. I love the agriculture in Israel because it's beautiful. I love green. I love plants.
I remember when it didn't look like that.
Yeah.
First time I came in 53 years ago.
It's great. Israel, which is one of the single ugliest countries in the world. Nothing of beauty has been built there since 1948. Sorry, I've been everywhere in that country, and it's true. Let me get to the nub of the question, since again,
it's even stupid things that he contradicts himself on. It's stupid little things, you know. And one time he'll say Hamas is a political organization, not a terrorist organization. The other time he'll say I never said that. Right, whatever. One time he'll say Trump's the Antichrist. Like, these are big deals. But even like stupid little things, it's all about the narrative.
A lot is at stake. A lot of money is at stake. Land is very valuable. Israel has a lot of resources. We have a huge country. This is a country the size of New Jersey with no resources. An attack on
a lot of resources. They have no resources.
Western civilization looks like this. It's tribalism. It's identity politics. It's DEI. It's whatever. It's Zionism. It's any belief system that begins with the understanding that one group is morally superior to other groups. Well, just on principle, like every other group in the world has the right to its own homeland except white people? Like what? JD has been subject to, this is well known, but I'll just confirm it, non-stop treachery.
You're accusing people of treachery, so I'm wondering, who do you mean specifically?
I don't know the answer to that. I've never worked there.
It is really weird that Tucker Carlson is out there glazing JD all the time. You know, and Tucker Carlson and JD are both really connected to Peter Thiel. You know, it is really suspicious.
Like, if you don't work there, you can say, you can say what you think you know, but it's hard to really know.
If I was telling my kids, if you think someone's lying to you, you're right.
Yeah, no, that's really bad. So a lot of people started noticing that, wait, this guy's actually acting really funny a lot. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, all right, actually finally said, my legislation to require influencers to disclose payments from foreign governments will be introduced this week. This is absolutely massive and will shake the entire area to its core. Now, Thomas Massie, you know, he has a couple of weeks left in Congress or whatever, you know, a couple months left. He's trying to do his best to expose the Epstein files. So he decided to gather everyone together to talk about how Israel accidentally attacked the USS Liberty 59 years ago. Now, for those of you unaware, this was during the Six-Day War. Israel was attacked by multiple neighboring countries. One of the ships that Israel struck was an American ship. They claimed it was an accident. They actually stopped the attack in middle, obviously, once realizing it was an American ship. They rescued the rest of the survivors on the ship. Israel then underwent 11 separate American-based investigations to make sure it was an accident, which all 11 investigations proved it was an accident, and Israel paid millions in reparations to the families of the victims. Obviously, it's an absolute tragedy that it took place, but anyone that actually does any research knows friendly fire when you see it. So Thomas Massie decided all of a sudden, you know, Congressman Groyper came out here to drop this gigantic soliloquy of the 34 crew members that were killed by the IDF. Why now? Why are we doing this all of a sudden, man? You came in here with a passion. You were going to talk about Epstein. All of a sudden, Israel is your main target. What's going on here? It's like, man, I wonder why the Jewish organizations, funded the other guy. I don't know. So anyway, this was pretty weird. Of course, Marjorie Trader Greene, she also lost her seat in Congress because she backstabbed Trump a whole lot of times. Thank you, Thomas Massey, for recognizing the rogue member of the USS Liberty attacked by Israel. Why did our greatest ally attack us? I'm just asking questions. It's insane that these people were in government, I'm not going to lie. Now, to be clear, obviously it was an absolute tragedy, and the heroic soldiers that died should not be forgotten. It was an unbelievable tragedy that took place. But, like, are we even taking this seriously? In 1991, which is a lot more recent, right? During the Gulf War, American A-10 Warthogs mistakenly targeted and opened fire on a column of Allied British armored vehicles. 9 British soldiers were tragically killed. 11 more were injured. Why haven't you heard about that? Why aren't we talking about false flags? Why isn't Marjorie Trader Greene posting about it on X? So many questions. I wonder why no one wants to talk about other instances of friendly fire. Because as we all know, the attack on the USS Liberty was the only instance of friendly fire ever in the history of war. Dude, so many people are falling for this third world psyop. It's insane. It's crazy. He says Israel's intent was to leave no survivors. Yes, which is why they immediately stopped bombing and nearly everyone on board survived. Of course. So that makes so much sense. Yes, Israel's intent was to leave no survivors, so they stopped the attack in middle and rescued the survivors and apologized. Definitely what I would do if I was trying to not leave survivors. Now, the truth is, this is from released information, all right? The USS Liberty was ordered to stay 100 nautical miles offshore. Declassified records show it was attacked 15 miles from the coast. All right, it was not in the position it was supposed to be. It was while Israel was getting attacked by multiple enemy nations. And yes, it was an unbelievable tragedy and horrible instance of friendly fire. In fact, at the Israeli Naval Museum in Haifa, there is a memorial to the victims of the USS Liberty accident of 1967. May their memories be an eternal blessing. It's like absolutely wild watching the PSYOP work. Meanwhile, an Islamist massacre targeting Christians is occurring in Ethiopia. It just happened yesterday, and 50 Christians were slaughtered there. I obviously can't show footage because, well, this video is supposed to be on YouTube. But it's an absolute nightmare that this shit is happening everywhere. Add it to the list of, Christians getting massacred in Syria, in Iraq, in Nigeria, in Sudan. Well, in Ethiopia too. Well, I'm sure that someone in America is going to talk about this. Maybe Thomas Massey is going to talk about this. No, Ilhan Omar talks about this. Out of everyone. Let's hear what she has to say. The people of Ethiopia deserve the right to choose their own future. After years of violence and suffering, they deserve peace, justice, and respect for their sovereign voice. The Ethiopian government must guarantee free and fair elections. They just genocided Christians. And this is what we're talking about? Now, the reason why she's even criticizing Ethiopia at all, by the way, is because Ethiopia, according to her, colonized areas of Somalia. That's right. She's involved because she cares about her tribalistic, personal, third world, retard-on-retard violence. That's why she gives a shit about Ethiopia. Not because of the current genocide happening right now. Holy shit, these people are all psyops, losers, and retards. Do not fall for the slopaganda. That's what we do here on the channel, boys. We cut through the shit. Because I actually love our country, and I do not want to lose it to infinite brain rot and third world retards. So the big Knicks game happened last night, and the Donald was present. He actually went there to watch the game. Of course, all the left-wing media is like, just in massive boos when Donald Trump is shown on screen in Madison Square Garden. I mean, first of all, literally no one would be surprised if New York communists, I mean, we saw who they just elected, would boo Donald Trump. I mean, he is literally killing terrorists, and they love terrorists. So, like, they obviously don't like Donald Trump. That makes sense. So, no video attached, but massive boos when Donald Trump is shown on screen. That's pretty interesting. Anyway, let's see what it sounds like when the video is actually attached. USA! 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 So they just lie! This is literally leftist media. Massive boos happened. You watch the video and it's just chanting USA. Bro, these people could, like, they're just such pathological liars. It's crazy. It's the psyop within the psyop. New Yorkers hate Trump. The reality of Trump showing up in New York. All right. That's my president. Everyone watching. Yo, it's the Donald. Man, look at all the booing going on.
The higher entrance right now.
Everyone's so excited that he's coming. Bro, these people, they just lie. They just lie. It's insane. So Hassan Piker was supposed to go to this game with Sneeko. That's so weird, but Hassan Piker is a leftist and Sneeko's right-wing. Why would they get along? Oh, it's actually really simple. They both united over their collective hatred for America. They are brothers in Islam, and that comes far before stupid little divides like Hassan paying brothels to have sex with alleged children, and Sneeko, whose favorite movie is Cuties, a movie that sexualizes little children. Actually, I'm starting to see why they could get along. So this is what Hassan Piker has to say about not showing up to the actual game.
I'm telling you, bro, if the Knicks lose tonight, it's literally because of Donald Trump.
This is the level of brain rot that we're dealing with. The reason why Hassan Piker shocked his own dog, because of the Jews. The reason why the Knicks lose the basketball game, Donald Trump.
No other reason for it. It's not because like Wemby locked in, okay? It's not because they found a way to fucking defeat the Knicks defense. It's not because they were able to stop the Knicks offense. It's just Donald Trump. There's no other reason for this to take place. They're so up right now. New York as a city is so goddamn up right now.
New York as a city is so goddamn up right now. Breaking news. An African stabbed 6 people in attack inside New York's Penn Station on June 7th, 2026. So this was just yesterday. Isn't that lovely? It's so beautiful. Look at that. Suspect was taken into custody shortly after. What the hell is going on this week? So many horrific incidents. Yeah! So many horrific incidents. Wow! I wonder if there's like a through line here. I wonder what they have in common. Well, Zoran Mamdani has a lot to say about this. I'm really excited for you to hear what Zoran Mamdani has to say about the fact that we had 2 gigantic mass stabbing events from Africans in New York this week alone. New York is so up right now. Did you not get the news?
Take place. They're so up right now. New York as a city is so goddamn up right now.
That's right, because it's white people getting stabbed by the immigrants, which is awesome, as opposed to killing terrorists, which is very sad and tragic. Are we aware of what's going on? So let's hear what Zoran Mamdani had to say.
I want to be very clear about the fact that I believe that ICE raids are cruel. They are inhumane. They do nothing to serve in the interest of public safety. I've shared.
Well, I mean, if we would have had proper ICE raids, we would have saved those 6 people from getting stabbed literally yesterday, right? So I mean, like, I wouldn't say that they contribute nothing. These people fucking suck. Have you noticed yet that every single foreigner in our country, every single one of them, every fucking one of them, they're all like anti-ICE? Have you noticed? Isn't that a funny coincidence? It's almost like their goal of America is importing their little fucking retard tribes into the country. And then they vote for, communist shit so that they take money away from the people that earned it and give it to their fucking inbred cousins that don't actually want to get a job. Have you noticed? Have you noticed that this keeps happening on like an industrial scale?
That directly with the president. I've shared that in public. It is a feeling that many New Yorkers share. And I also do believe that ICE
No, I think those 6 people that got stabbed might have a different opinion.
As an entity is one that should be abolished and that we should...
Yes, we should just not have immigration enforcement. In fact, I think we should have 1 million more Ugandans in this country immediately. You know what would make New York up? New York is so up right now. You know what would make New York a little more up? If we had 1 million more Zoran Mamdanis. Bro, that would be fucking awesome. Yes. Yes. I mean, yeah, we did literally just have an ISIS bombing attack in New York just like 2 months ago. But hey, that was for Allah. So was it really a bad thing? Anyway, so this is just what you have to deal with now.
Return to an immigration system that has more humanity.
The humanity means import 1 million more Ugandans. All right, I hope you understand what humanity means. All right, so Hassan Piker's crashing out. This guy says, like, how he does this all the time. He's lazy, he sucks, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Hassan retweets it. He's mad because I don't want to drop 10 bans on nosebleeds. Lamau! Like, bro literally spends money like crazy on everything. But the funniest thing is he's like reposting this with 1 like on it and 3 views. Hassan was 1/3 of the views on this tweet. You know Hassan watches every single one of my videos, which is why he has threatened to sue me. And also, he has slandered me multiple times, actually. And it all comes together. So Sneeko decides to show up to the game. I have to play this out for you because this is a wild story. All right, so Sneeko shows up to the game, obviously, because as he said in the past, sports are for the goyim, and I guess he is a goy, so here he is showing up for the sports. The NBA's head of security approached Sneeko during the Kicks versus Spurs Game 3 and told him, let's have a word.
Mike Bosnack, I'm Senior Manager of Security here. Can I just come out and have a word with you real quick?
Can we have a word real quick, Sneeko? He might have watched the videos of Sneeko endorsing terrorism. That might have been part of it. Oh, that's another thing Sneeko and Hassan have in common. They both love terrorists. specifically Islamic terrorists. They love that shit.
Come right back, DC. Yeah.
You know, in honor of Pride Month, I feel like now is the time to remind you that if an Islamic terrorist wants to have butt sex, gay butt sex with another man to stretch his asshole so that he can fit explosives in his anus, he is still doing the will of Allah. And therefore, the gay butt sex is actually not haram. That is true. I heard that from a real imam, by the way.
So much. Show him. 2 seconds. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So the guy asks to meet Sneeko, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, his stream ended shortly after.
Hey, actually, W intro, bro.
Yeah, and then he had to end his stream. Very awkward stuff. It's almost like they just think that he fucking sucks in general. Now, this could be due to copyright. You know, technically, you're not allowed to just completely record this game and publish it on your platform. That is a copyright violation, but it could also be a terror situation. I'm just saying, Sneeko just posted a video ready to die. I don't know, man. When I hear about a devout Muslim talking about being ready to die and go up to a crowded area, I don't know, man. I'm gonna start questioning. You know, I'm just asking questions. So Sneeko, super mad that he can't film it. From what was released of the Epstein files, we discovered the names of our most beloved celebrities and politicians. Yes, they were billionaires that got along with other billionaires. Yeah, within half a year, they are all laughing courtside at the Garden. Yes, they are billionaires. America should learn from Albania. No, we shouldn't. Take your country back. No one is forcing you to do nothing. Now, the funniest thing is, now, I think that the Epstein situation is obviously an absolute travesty. I would love to see mass jailings of all the retards that knew about what Epstein was doing and that partook in it, obviously. But my favorite thing ever is Muslims who literally submit and worship the most infamous pedophile in human history complain about Epstein. Like, it's just absolutely laughable to me. If someone was, like, friendly with Epstein and shit, you know, you have, like, the plausible deniability. Maybe he didn't know the fucking child sacrifice sex cult shit that was going on his island or whatever. I'm not saying I would believe them or want to be their friend or anything like that, but you have that plausible deniability. If you are converting to Islam, you are choosing to follow the path of a mass murdering sex slaver pedophile. So it's just absolutely mind-boggling to me to watch this shit happen. You know, Sneeko, like, he just keeps getting it. Like, you know, he keeps talking about how Muslims are the true victims to literally all the things, but every time, every clip of him is worse than the last.
Obviously, we see horrible attacks throughout the country.
Where?
Right, so this is him saying, this Jewish guy saying we see horrible attacks throughout the country against Jews, and this is Sneeko being like, where? Jews are literally controlling all the things.
Where? This is talked about all the time. Where does it happen?
For example, it happened in Colorado last year, the governor's house in Pennsylvania, last week in Michigan. Obviously,
Man, that's awkward, isn't it? Bro just released 3 examples instantly, damn. And he was so confident too. Where? They blew up a synagogue in Michigan. They firebombed a couple of Jews in Colorado. 3 Palestine people lit Governor Josh Shapiro's house on fire. 2 Israelis were assassinated in Washington, D.C. And those are just the instances where people died. There was essentially, according to the actual NYPD statistics, 1 racially motivated violent crime against Jews per day in New York City alone since the beginning of 2026. So I love that this dude, like, lives in his own bubble to the point that he's like, well, why? Oh, yeah, where did it happen?
The country.
Where? This is talked about all the time. Where does it happen?
For example, it happened in Colorado last year, the governor's house in Pennsylvania, last week in Michigan.
He looks at his chat. Oopsie poopsie. Yeah. So now the craziest thing is Sneeko's top clipper recently posted his account analytics. Dude, this is so fucking good. It's so good. Posted his account analytics, and it confirms that the majority of his audience are in fact brown third worlders. Just absolute fucking cinema. You look at the majority of the people that watch Sneeko clips, and you get mostly 25 to 34-year-old males in Pakistan and India. It is absolute fucking cinema. It does not get any better than this. I cannot possibly believe that this is what we got. The ultimate exposed. Everyone saw it coming. Because I always ask myself, what fucking American guy is going to sit there watching Sneeko? The fact that America is not even in his top 5 most viewed countries is absolutely miserable. Oh my God, just completely cooked Pakistani bot central. It's crazy that this got exposed. Now, of course, after the Knicks lost their basketball game and Sneeko and Hassan were both pretty thoroughly humiliated, Knicks fans decided to destroy the city of New York because that's a thing that you do, specifically, or if you are of a specific ethnic makeup. Now, I'm not going to say which ethnic makeup, but I am going to ask you to look around at the crowds and see if you can recognize any patterns. See, what you were witnessing here on the screen right now are socioeconomic conditions. You are witnessing socioeconomic factors the likes of which you have never possibly seen before. They're destroying the city. They're beating the shit out of each other. This is a Spurs fan getting assaulted by a rabid mob of Knicks fans. Now, it's funny. It's funny that they captioned it this way because it's a white guy getting attacked by a throng of black people. Again, socioeconomic conditions are insane. Welcome to New York City, the jungle. New York is so up right now, says Hassan Piker. New York is just so up right now. They're just surrounding them. They're not letting them go. They're beating the shit out of them. All these people need to go to fucking jail, bro. Put them in cages. This shit's insane. Right, but bro, this isn't normal. This isn't... I'm sorry to be that guy. This isn't Western civilization. The fuck happened here? Well, what is going on? Knicks fans attacking any Spurs fans they can find. Right? It's so weird that this happens. It's so weird how this keeps happening everywhere. I mean, you keep going, but you get the idea. Now, the reality is, you'll notice a lot of teen takeovers recently, which is a funny way to say black teenagers. Teen takeovers are just violent black teenagers. This is insane. Just attacking Taco Bell drive-thrus at night. Are we noticing anything about the ethnic makeup here? Now, listen, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and be like, all black people are monkeys and shit like that. That's obviously horrible and hateful. But there is obviously a problem with this culture, and the results to this problem are 13% of the population is committing 50% of the violent crimes. There is a major issue here. Now, you could chalk it up to fatherlessness. You could chalk it up to all forms of different cultural developments. But whenever I hear a libtard being like, but there are more black people arrested than white people. Yeah, there are. Yeah, true. Maybe not enough, actually. Maybe not enough. So, Sneeko, you thought we were done with this retard? No. I've crafted a masterwork for you today. So, Sneeko is talking about how black culture is actually just better than white culture.
Notice how white people don't violently attack black and brown people in the streets.
Yeah, you just go into countries and bomb them. Like,
yeah, but why would they do that, though? But why do white people do that, though?
Black and brown violence, you'll see like a fist fight on the street. White violence...
A fist fight. Just fist fights every once in a while. Let's not talk about the mass rape of European young girls. Let's not talk about the infinite terror attacks committed against each other. Let's not talk about how the Crusade started, which was Islamic invasion into Europe. And you know what? This is gonna be wild. You're not gonna like this one. Why are 10 out of the 11 global conflicts right now going on about Islam? Why is that the case? Why are Muslims killing each other in Syria and Muslims killing Christians in Syria and in Iraq and in Nigeria and in Ethiopia and in Sudan? Why are Muslims killing Persians in Iran? Why are Muslims attacking Jews everywhere around Israel? From Hamas to Hezbollah to the Houthis. Why are Muslims torturing Christians everywhere that they seem to overlap? Why is the Christian population decreased in every single Muslim country? Why have all of the Jews in every Muslim country gotten expelled in 1948 from those countries? Why had the war between the Congo and Rwanda result in 5.5 million people killed? Why does all this happen if it's only white people bombing brown people? You know, it's so funny watching this guy being a base right-winger just basically completely devolve into actual brown clown sloppery for third worlders.
Just nuking a foreign country. White violence is colonization.
It's his fucking soundboard.
White violence is going in.
White violence is colonization, which it literally improved the lives of every single place that was colonized. No one wants to talk about that.
There and regime change. White violence is starting wars, like a 100-year war between Britain and France. white violence is Ukraine versus Russia for reasons that Americans don't even know. Yeah, white people aren't violent. It's like, okay.
Right. So what's the point here?
Stop committing war.
Yeah. Notoriously, only white people do wars. Not the infamous third world bloodbath skirmishes that happen everywhere in Africa. Pay no attention to that. Like, this is one of the saddest cope sessions I've ever seen in my entire life. It really is. So, again, anyway, speaking of white crime, let's talk a little bit about the Carmelo Anthony trial update. So, Carmelo Anthony is a black guy that stabbed a white kid and killed him. Just because he felt like it. He saw a white kid at a track meet, he took a knife, stabbed him in the heart, and murdered him. Now he's in court, and it looks really bad for him. So, of course, you got the Black Panthers showing up in uniform to intimidate the jury, it seems, to scare them off, because, you know, if Carmelo Anthony loses, well, they're going to burn the fucking country down. That's just normal, actually. It's totally normal that when somebody murders somebody else, and then that murderer goes to jail for murdering the guy, then everyone in his little ethnic group decides to get together and burn down the country. Totally normal thing, actually, that we just need to deal with, it seems. You know, like, they're posting shit like this. Austin Metcalf, which is the white guy who died, who was murdered, all right? And you got all these guys dancing at his grave. Yo, let's go. There's an AI image, obviously. But wow, hilarious. He's dead. We got that white guy. And you're going to tell me that this isn't obviously racially motivated? Like, yeah, they actually just want you dead. Yeah, actually, they just do. Now, one of the craziest developments in this case is the way the media has been essentially trying to glaze Carmelo Anthony for some reason. Fucking murderous psychopath. The knife Carmelo Anthony allegedly used to fatally stab Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet wasn't illegal under Texas law. I actually don't give a fuck if the knife was legal. He stabbed an innocent guy in the heart for no reason and murdered him. What are we even talking about? The knife was legal. Huh? My hands are legal, but I can't strangle you. Like, is this what the defense has? Carmelo Anthony asked to leave 15 times before fatal stabbing. Wow, really sounds like self-defense, huh? Carmelo Anthony apparently distraught moments after killing Austin Metcalf, teammate says. This is how they're trying to defend him. Here you got a guy, walks up to an innocent dude, stabs him in the heart, murders him, and then he's distraught a few minutes later. Well, I guess, are we really going to punish? He's just a poor bebe. He's just a poor bebe. Prospective jurors in Carmelo Anthony's trial reportedly said they could not see themselves sentencing him to life in prison, with one saying they did not want to put a brother in jail, despite the severity of the murder charge against him. One potential juror told prosecutors, "I don't think I can make a decision about somebody so young," while others said Anthony looks like a child. So the reality is, the actual lawyer based did not allow any black jurors on the jury, which is fucking awesome, actually. Because apparently tribalism is very real, and it's to an insane degree, especially in certain communities. What the fuck is this? I don't want to put a brother in jail, so I'm just going to let a murderer walk free? Yes, actually. Yeah, actually, that is the goal. Actually, this guy, whoever said, I don't want to put a brother in jail, they don't seem too distraught. They actually think it's perfectly acceptable that he murdered an innocent kid because he was white. Isn't that insane? Carmelo Anthony juror left open-mouthed with shock at sight of Austin Metcalf's body as the killer teen's lawyers suggest the victim impaled himself on the knife. You thought that you saw depravity. You have seen nothing yet. Breaking. Carmelo Anthony suffers a major blow in court after his defense attorney, Mike Howard, attempted to argue that Austin Metcalf was responsible for his own stabbing and essentially impaled himself, prompting an audible gasp from the jurors in the courtroom because obviously that's not what fucking happened. That Carmelo Anthony pulled out a legal knife and then Austin Metcalf stabbed himself in the heart. Do you understand the level of retard you have to be to even, like, put up with this shit? Like, this is an absolute joke, a mockery of justice. So first they claimed it was self-defense, and then they claimed that the guy maybe stabbed himself on this guy's knife. Absolute insanity. And, you know, you really start to understand where this meme came from. How the entire real estate market in the country is based on how far away can I get from these people without having a 3-hour drive to work. Now, the craziest reality is that's actually not wrong, because a lot of these communities actually believe this way. Now, I think that based conservative black people are legends. They're fucking awesome human beings. But a lot of them are living in just backwards culture retard world where ethnic tribalism absolutely trumps everything. And then they'll scream about being the victim and shit when their entire community rallies behind them after they murder somebody in cold blood. Defense rests with the Carmelo Anthony case. Total disaster for them. Their own witness contradict themselves, testified Carmelo was the aggressor and shouldn't have been at the tent. There essentially was no defense offered. They should have taken a plea deal a year ago, but his retarded family preferred to milk the whole thing for cash. One of the most open and shut murder trials we've ever seen. And it's official. Carmelo Anthony's defense rests after a devastating round of witness testimony and the Austin Metcalf trial.
30 minutes. The defense resting its case in the murder trial of Carmelo Anthony, the teen accused of fatally stabbing Austin Metcalf. Now, the court has been dismissed for the day. Closing arguments start tomorrow. This comes after an unusually long lunch break lasting an hour and a half. We don't know what was the holdup, but here's what we do know on day 4. The prosecution rested its case on Saturday after calling 21 witnesses. We heard emotional, heartbreaking, harrowing testimony from Austin Metcalf's coach, fellow students, and the medical examiner. The jurors looked on in horror as graphic autopsy photos were shown. Anthony, on the other hand, did not look, staring down at his lap as the grim pictures were shown. The biggest headline? It came from a 17-year-old schoolmate of Metcalf, who testified that he didn't see anyone crowding Carmelo Anthony at the time of the stabbing. This seemingly debunks Anthony's narrative that he was ambushed and acted in self-defense.
But, like, just listen to the way the arguments develop. I didn't do nothing. I was ambushed, and it was self-defense. Actually, he stabbed himself on the knife himself, actually. The knife was legal, by the way. Bro, just what a fucking shit show.
After the prosecution wrapped up on Saturday, the defense asked the court to move to a direct verdict. In other words, asking the judge to rule in their favor before the case goes to the jury on the grounds that the prosecution legally failed to make their case. Now, that sounds like a long shot request. It is. It'd be like asking the ref to end the game before the fourth quarter because one team thinks the other hasn't put up enough points to win. It's also pro forma. In almost every legal case, the defense will ask for a direct verdict. And in almost every case, it is denied. In this case, it was denied. So today, the defense began calling their witnesses, including 2 students who were at the scene.
This motherfucker got Rasputin to be his fucking lawyer and just got absolutely slaughtered in court.
One recalled seeing Anthony crying after the stabbing. The other described seeing a push or a punch followed by people screaming. A Frisco police officer who examined Anthony's phone
Bro, Carmelo Anthony is going to have the next 40 years of his life stabbed in the asshole by prison inmates because this motherfucker didn't realize that actually you can't chimp out in public and murder an innocent man for no reason.
Testified, while it's against school policy to carry knives, it is not illegal in Texas.
Yeah, but he stabbed him in the heart. That's the issue. It's not really the carrying the knife. It's more the stabbing him in the heart and killing him thing.
But it's what happened outside the courtroom that really caught our attention. It's the return of Dominique Alexander, a representative for the family of Carmelo Anthony. He's the leader of Dallas' Next Generation Action Network.
For individuals who come here to solve.
Every single black guy that's defending Carmelo Anthony is making the entire black community look worse. I'm not gonna lie. It is absolutely harrowing. It's the equivalent of laughing that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It's unbelievable. Listen, man, when a white guy commits a horrible crime, I keep seeing white guys saying, kill him, jail him, lock him up, throw him away, execute him. Jeffrey Epstein, he was a fucking monster, all right? I don't know a single Jewish guy that's like, well, actually, maybe Jeffrey Epstein is misunderstood. No, Jeffrey Epstein was a fucking nightmare human, second most infamous pedophile in history, all right? That guy fucking sucked. But suspiciously, in certain communities, all of a sudden, everyone gets up to defend the guy. And it's just absolutely mind-boggling to see. It's almost like you have a distinct culture from ours. There was this Somali pedophile that was arrested for raping a child, and the entire Somali community in Minneapolis came together to basically say, actually, he's a super nice guy. What the fuck are we talking? You raped a kid. Hello? Unless the community doesn't actually view raping a kid as such a big deal. And, I start to wonder the same thing here. When I see so many black voices come out in defense of Carmelo Anthony, I start to wonder, maybe the community actually doesn't mind if a black guy murders a white guy. Maybe it's not actually such a big deal to so many people. And it's heartbreaking. This shit's insane. This is radicalizing as fuck.
Whole purpose on provoking conflict and creating division. Our message for those...
You created division when you stabbed an innocent guy in the chest and killed him. All right, Carmelo?
Supporting Carmelo Anthony is simple. Do not allow yourself to be baited in. We have seen the extremist rhetoric.
Yeah, just absolute insanity watching this shit go down and people defend him. Kyle Rittenhouse shot rioters to save his life. $2 million bond, not reduced. 86 days in pretrial detention. Carmelo Anthony brought a knife to attract me, got insulted, murdered someone. Bond is reduced to $200K. 12 days in pretrial jail. Buys new house because the community supports him so much. It's just an absolute sham. A joke. To quote the late and great Charlie Kirk, Carmelo Anthony brutally murdered Austin Metcalf, and the support for him in the black community is growing. Murdering a white kid in cold blood seems acceptable to some, and they hate him for being right, and so they killed him. To quote MLK, whatever happened to judging people based on the content of their character and not the color of their skin? Because that shit is not happening in America. And in the opposite way that MLK actually intended it. Now put this fucking savage in a box. Happy Pride Month, I guess. You're gonna have your first EA experience really soon. Now, England is suffering from similar problems to our own, except amped up by like a bajillion times. It has been revealed that Vikram Digwa and his brother were secretly recorded by police saying Vikram stabbed Henry, and they were going to lie to the police, and the conversation was in Punjabi, but apparently that's fine. And also, the brother of Vikram Digwa just wasn't arrested, actually. Because, hey, why should he get arrested? Now, as far as I'm concerned, this entire family is part of it. They all need to get deported. But there's a situation that happened that's also harrowing, absolutely harrowing. So first, we have to talk about the Tard Avengers before we talk about the new and improved horrific thing that happened in Ireland. All right, so Sneeko reacts to the death of Henry Nowak. All right, get ready for this. So Henry Nowak, again, he's the guy who was stabbed by the Sikh guy 5 times. He bled out in handcuffs because the police believed the Sikh that the victim was racist and let him die. All right, so this is Sneeko's reaction to it.
Saying to him, keeping him on his side.
The unfortunate thing, I know so many people are thinking it right now. Muslims in the UK are relieved that it's a Sikh and not a Muslim. Type of one in the chat if you were thinking that just now.
Yeah, literally, we're doing the Norm Macdonald tweet. We're doing the fucking, what terrifies me is that if ISIS detonates a nuclear bomb in New York City and kills 50 million people, is the backlash that will bring on peaceful Muslims. All right, so this is Sneeko watching a 18-year-old innocent white guy get stabbed to death, bleed out and die in handcuffs on the street. And the first thing he's thinking of is like, whoo! At least a Muslim didn't do it. I mean, thank God the Muslims are raping a generation of white girls and committing terror attacks every week in England, but whoo, at least this viral story wasn't a Muslim. This is fucking third world as shit. All right, this guy fucking sucks. You think he's a base right-wing ally? What are we even talking about?
That it's a Sikh and not a Muslim, because we already know what the narrative would have been.
What do you mean would have been? Muslims are committing terror attacks in England weekly, right? They just blew up a couple of ambulances, right? Muslims just blew up a church. Muslims blew up a synagogue. Muslims are stabbing Jews and raping white girls. There are Muslim rape gangs that are wandering and vagrants just meandering throughout England, raping a generation of white girls. And he sees this one viral story and he's like, oh, thank God it's not a Muslim. You know what the narrative would have been if Muslims were actually violent?
Because it's a Sikh, people can go, that's the state of politics.
Keeps going.
We will set up.
That's the state of politics. No, that's your state. That's exactly what you just did. You literally just did that and your entire chat agreed with you. Actual retard take, and everyone knows it.
So true. Very true.
The average AF super chatter sent $25. Did you see Sneeko react to the Henry Nowak video? His first thought was, thank God it was a Sikh and not a Muslim.
Yeah, which is so telling. It's like that Norm Macdonald joke. He sees a white person get stabbed to death and says, oh, thank God it was an Indian, because imagine all of the Islamophobia against innocent Muslims.
What a
That's
fucking
who he
joke.
is in his DNA. He's like a congenital brown clown. He sees a white person get stabbed to death, and his first thought is, Muslims breathe the sigh of relief. Think about us as the victims. We can civilizational enemy.
He finally realized, listen, I've been saying this for a really long time. A lot of people were like, oh, hey, I criticize Israel and he criticizes Israel. Maybe we could get along. And it's like, no. You have been duped by the ultimate brown psyop, and almost everyone has. The Tucker Carlsons collabing with Cenk Uygur, and you got Megyn Kelly and Anna Kasparian getting along now. Sneeko and Hassan working together. You people are fucking clowns and bots controlled by third world psyops. It's insane. And finally, you know, at least Nick Fuentes is like, wait, holy shit, wow, this guy fucking sucks. He's horrible. And yeah, it's actually true. Most of the discourse actually is horrible. In fact, in the most horrible discourse of the day, African migrant just tried to behead a white man in North Belfast, Ireland. Video is too graphic to post. So I saw the video. I obviously will not be posting it here. And normally I would say that if you don't have a strong stomach, you shouldn't seek out the original, but I actually think you should. I think you should understand the level of barbarism that is being imported into our countries. So this is him with a knife constantly and again, jamming it in his neck, trying to decapitate him in public. Yeah, I think importing the rise of the Planet of the Apes into Western civilization actually was not mutually beneficial. We are a civilization based on biblical values, and yes, that makes us better! It makes our culture superior to yours, and therefore, why? Why would we import these people here? Like, this is savagery that we can't even imagine! I think so many of the people turn a blind eye to the Islamic grooming gangs that are, you know, wandering throughout Europe, raping young white, British, Spanish, German, French and Swedish girls because they can't even possibly imagine the levels of atrocity that's being described. Our culture is so much more advanced than the barbaric shit we're seeing on our streets. And let this be a lesson to you, man. Let this be a lesson to you if you're in America. We were one president away from this shit in our country. Thank God our migrants are Latin American and not African and East Asian. Holy shit, this is insanity. It got worse. Watch the video. It's horrible, says Sydney Watson. I have to say, these videos light a rage in me that I can't even describe. I am so angry. So sad that white countries have to put up with this shit because of tolerance. Because being called racist is more frightening than watching our countrymen hacked to death, stabbed, shot, raped, and mutilated. I'd rather be called racist all day long than stand back and watch my fellow people get their heads hacked off by 50 IQ foreigners from an African shithole. I'm just done. And this is the stance that so many people are taking. And the reason why it's happening now is because Elon Musk bought Twitter. These conversations would not have existed or been allowed to exist without Elon Musk buying Twitter. Remember, the governments shut these cases down. They don't release the information of who the criminals are. They covered up the rape gangs. You know, they want you to make believe, close your eyes and make believe that human beings are just little economic figures, little balls of carbon whizzing through infinite nothingness. And your heritage and your culture and what made your civilization yours is irrelevant completely. Borders mean nothing, countries mean nothing, religion means nothing. We are exactly the same as the warring tribes in Africa. And now, this video comes out and people realize, wait a fucking second, that's actually just not true. You actually are just lying to me. Tolerance is not actually a virtue. Intolerance is a virtue. Watch the video. Face the brutal reality of third world migration. It's ugly, filthy, and devastating. Don't look away. The politicians and activists facilitating this are directly responsible for the rape gangs, stabbings, and beheadings. Understand what's at stake. The West must carry out mass deportations. The East must prevent mass migration at all costs. Wake up before it's too late. People are actually just getting totally radicalized on this shit. And of course, the media, you know, they still don't realize that they are completely left in the Stone Age. Man taken to hospital with serious injuries after stabbing. White man taken to hospital after almost getting beheaded by African Muslim migrant. All right, but again, why? Who cares about reality when we could just lie? All right, when we could just manipulate. Woke up expecting the Belfast horror to be all over the media, BBC and Sky front pages. Nowhere to be found. Nope, not at all. Nothing to see here. Just billionaire co-owner accused of abusing his power. Oh, that's way more important. Yeah. Billionaire West Ham co-owner accused. No evidence even, just accused. Iran deal in final throes, Trump claims. Top referee denied entry for World Cup to the U.S. based. Let's deny entry to more of them actually based. Now, it keeps getting worse. Police say man believed to be Somali arrested on suspicion of attempted murder after brutal, in quotes, attack in Belfast. Yeah, because nearly decapitating a man in the middle of the street is only brutal in quotes. Dude, and of course they shut off comments because they don't even want to hear what people have to say. And you can't even make this up, right? So this is literally a story. All right, the wife and children of Somalia's new Islamic State ISIS leader are living in slow on social housing. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There are social housing. Social housing, by the way, means actual people that work for a living, unlike the Somalis who don't. Actual people who work for a living pay their taxes to the government so their government can take the money and let in ISIS terrorists on your dime. And it's like, man, I wonder how this keeps happening. That's pretty insane. A Somalian has been arrested following the attempted beheading. A Restore Britain government would end all migration from Somalia, review all existing visas, and deport all Somalians who should not be in Britain. Enough. says Rupert Lowe. Rupert Lowe then says the police are now reporting the man is Sudanese, not Somalian, as they first published. Well, I have fantastic news for you. A restored British government would end all migration from both Sudan and Somalia. Bro, can you name one way that our countries were made better by Somalia or Sudanese immigration? Like, I'm not gonna lie. I can't think of one way our actual quality of life has improved. Review all existing visas, deport all Sudanese and Somalian migrants who should not be in Britain. This is the correct stance, actually. Our civilization does not need to exist to be infinite freebies to third world rapists and brutal murderers. And you know what? I'm not saying that all migrants from Sudan or Somalia are barbarians. I'm not making that claim. But I am making the claim that way too many of them are, for me, to, in good faith, vouch to import them. Now, the left, they're pro-rape, so they actually like that. The left is actually pro-white genocide, so they're actually super on board with this. They view literally everything in the universe through this like neo-Marxist oppressed versus oppressor lens because they don't have God. They don't have actual morals that they could found their belief systems upon. So they have to found it upon this like infinite bullshit victim card garbage of, well, I hate myself, so therefore everything in the world goes through the lens of oppressor versus oppressed. And by oppressor versus oppressed, they don't even mean it literally. They just mean competent versus retard. Well, the average IQ in Europe is 102, so obviously we are the oppressors, and the average IQ in Somalia is 67, so obviously they're the oppressed. This is the most shit way to look at the universe ever. Oh, well, we were colonizers, and we gave them fucking houses and infrastructure and medicine, so we're obviously fucking horrible people. So therefore, we are infinitely the oppressors, they are infinitely the oppressed, they always win, we have to import billions of them to make up for our past sins. So America's bad because we don't want to get brutally raped by the third world, and Britain is bad because they want to deport third world rapists, and fucking France is bad because they don't like Islamic terror attacks on their streets, and Sweden is bad because they don't like when their churches get lit on fire, and Israel is bad because they don't like when terror attacks come and rape their people. You know, like, it's just an insane frame to look at literally anything, just as a way to justify importing third world barbarians into your culture to destroy it. It really is. You know, I've written to the Prime Minister, says Rupert Lowe. Prime Minister, we have all seen the sickening video from Belfast. Full details of the savages' nationality, immigration status, and religion must be made available to the public as a matter of urgency. The British people need to know the full truth now. Rupert Lowe. Base, this guy's fucking awesome. I love Rupert Lowe. What a legend. And he made a little video as a statement on the absolute atrocity that happened on the street. Like, this is the kind of shit that should not exist in our cultures, and we successfully removed it from our cultures. You know, through Greek philosophy and Roman law and biblical values, we have developed a civilization where this level of barbarism just doesn't happen until we reintroduced it by bringing in savages that did not have anywhere near that level of enlightenment.
Good morning, everybody. I've just watched the most horrific footage from Northern Ireland, from Belfast, of one man on top of another with a knife, obviously screaming and shouting. Some patriots effectively attempted to intervene. I don't know what has happened to the victim, but it didn't look good. I now call for the police with full transparency to disclose the ethnicity and immigration status of the person who perpetrated the attack. This is a...
Actually, reality is important. Oh, but why do you have to know? You're just saying it for racist purposes. Why I'm saying it is irrelevant. Give us the truth. Reality is actually important. You put another dot on that graph for us so we could start seeing the pattern. All right? And I'm so tired of, oh, you're only saying this because you're racist? No. I'm saying this because I'm not racist enough yet.
Pointingly growing trend, which is affecting all of us. It stems from immigration, largely. It stems from the fact that there's a whole industry of people who have made vast amounts of money propagating an industry called the human rights industry, which basically has fed off the back of the...
Now, a lot of people don't know this because you've been so psyoped by Western civilization. And you're going to hear what I'm about to say, and it's going to take you aback. So I suggest you hear it, and then you mull it over a little bit before you actually make an assessment here. Human rights are bullshit. Human rights are fake and gay. There are no such things as human rights. Human rights are not real. The only human right is free will. Other than that, we got a couple of things that the government and society allows us to do, or that the societies and governments that we have instituted try to protect us, but they're not human rights inherently. Inherently, there's no such thing as a human right. You have the right to free speech. No, you don't have the right to free speech. as you could see from England, where they arrest people who make Facebook posts, as you could see from Afghanistan and Iran, where they shut off the internet and they massacre you if you oppose the regime. All right, free speech is not a human right. Thank God we live in the United States of America, the greatest country in the history of the world, that it was in our Constitution. And because the people in power give us that right, we have that right. It is not inherent. There is no such thing as an inherent human right. It is a term that they have created to psyop you into thinking that we owe barbarians anything, and we don't. The Sudanese and the Somalians should build a wonderful civilization wherever they fucking came from, and they can then dole out whatever rights they deem as humane to their own people. They won't, because they're fucking savages as of now, and we have given them all the opportunity to actually develop. They don't want to. But human rights are a scam. A scam so billionaires can make money and manipulate people into thinking that somehow it's just to import infinite retards into our civilization.
Legal complexities surrounding human rights law. Those are people like Keir Starmer, Lord Hermer, a whole raft of people who I think put their own interests above those of the safety of the British people. And it's time we got some honesty from the police force, who are paid for the British taxpayer, paid for by the British taxpayer. They're supposed to serve the British taxpayer, and they're supposed to keep us all safe. We can quite clearly see with the recent tragic death of Henry Novak, we can see two-tier policing. And now I think I call for total transparency. If you have transparency, you have truth. And from truth, you can actually start to deal with the issues that are causing the problem. Until we have that, I'm afraid we are going to continue to, all of us, suffer from increasing distrust, an increasing feeling of a lack of safety, and that is not going to be good for all of us. We want our high trust society back, and we're not going to get it back by people being deceitful. We need honesty, we need truth, we need authenticity, and we need openness.
That's right. And if it'll make you racist, then so be it. Reality matters more than whatever fake social bullshit you come up with to convince yourself that you shouldn't be living in real life. Oh yes, I'm gonna make believe men could be women because I might offend a mentally ill retard who wants to kill me and my family because I have faith in God. Yeah, no, actually, I don't give a shit if I offend him. Reality matters more, you know? And Keir Starmer eventually, after so much pushback, responds, which is insane. You'd think he'd say something immediately. The horrific attack in Belfast last night is sickening. I've absolutely no tolerance for abhorrent scenes of violence like this on our streets. My thoughts are first and foremost with the victim, and I thank first responders, including members of the public who intervened. Literally zero actual engagement with what actually happened. And because this guy is such a fucking cuck, like, I could just show you. He copies and pastes this shit. All right, it's sickening. All right, let's just see how many times he's posted things that are sickening. The horrific attack is sickening. It is sickening that the scandal has put this. It's sickening anti-vax protesters are spreading dangerous misinformation. Bro, can you imagine this equation? It is sickening that anti-vax protesters are spreading dangerous misinformation, and it's also sickening that a man was almost beheaded by a violent savage from Sudan that your government imported. I love this equivocation. Both of these things are sickening, according to Keir Starmer. Is that not absolute insanity? Holy shit, dude. Keir Starmer considers these things both sickening. All right, it's just truly astounding. Now you got to see how police covered this, because British police is also fucking compromised by the retard woke shithole that is all of Europe right now. Sorry, Europeans, you know it's all true. All right, so this is the investigation's result on what the motive was.
The investigation is at early stages. As I've said already, we're ruling out a terrorist motivation at this
they're immediately ruling out terrorism.
Stage.
All right, so what do they have? They must have some reason to rule out terrorism, right?
However, our minds remain.
There's no reason why a Muslim from Sudan would commit a terror attack. That's fucking retarded. So what is the alternative?
And open to the various possibilities as to what the motivation is.
And they have zero other options
behind this.
Our mind is open. We have no idea what it is, but we are ruling out terrorism because we don't want Islamophobia to happen.
We will, of course, as we move ahead, be working with all of those who might be able to provide us further information.
Very excited to see Sneeko not react to this one. I bet you any money Sneeko will just not react to this case because it's a Muslim.
And context as why what happened last night.
Dude, what a fucking joke. This entire society is a joke. And literally, right after this happens, suspect in custody after multiple people stabbed in a Manchester school. It literally just doesn't stop. Isn't it great that England banned knives so only bad people could stab people now? Isn't that awesome? Isn't it great that they did that? Wow, so huge. 16-year-old Merneda Aussie, a teen, Declan, was hunted by a Sudanese youth gang and stabbed 56 times, and he received 66 blunt force injuries. One of Declan's African killers was released because he was deemed too young to take responsibility for murder. In 2025, the animal took part in an aggravated home invasion in Gladstone Park, Melbourne, and saw a 60-year-old man stabbed countless times, shot in the arm, and bashed repeatedly with a hammer. Because, well, we're not going to let this 16-year-old Sudanese migrant stay in jail. Why should we do that? The riots in Brussels by the second and third generation migrants entered their third day. So we have 3 days now of violent, fiery riots in Brussels because third generation migrants didn't assimilate. Color me shocked and surprised. Europe is literally living through a nightmare of its own making, and it's fucking heartbreaking. But hey, Piers Morgan tells me at least the curry is really good now. Now, God bless America, though. Iran's Football Federation says its ticket allocation for the FIFA World Cup has been withdrawn just days before the football's global showpiece begins, leaving fans unable to attend their team's matches. Wait, you mean to tell me that people that were given the pass by the Islamic regime in Iran to come to America aren't welcomed into America? See, this is what I want to fucking see. This is everything that I want to fucking see. Yes, yes, based, as Rubio literally said in April.
Nothing from the U.S. has told them they can't come. I mean, the problem with Iran, it would be not their athletes. It would be some of the other people that would want to bring with them, some of whom have ties to the IRGC. We may not be able to let them in, but not the athletes themselves.
That's right.
But no,
the athletes could come. The unvetted people or the people with ties to the Islamic terrorist regime, they can't. This is what vetting looks like.
I don't know where that's coming from, other than speculation that Iran may decide not to come, and then Italy would fill their spot. But if they decide not to come on their own, it's because they decided not to come. What they can't bring is a bunch of IRGC terrorists into our country and pretend that they're journalists and athletic trainers.
He is so right. Rubio has been cracking down and destroying these like infinite retards coming into our country. He's revoking citizenship from people. God, he's been so on point here. And you know what? You know who hasn't been on point? The Sudanese man that just beheaded a guy. The arrested Sudanese man was an asylum seeker. He entered Britain in February 2023, immediately claiming asylum, according to the police, who was the immigration minister at the time. Then, when the man was granted leave to remain in our country. Why? Reforms Robert Jenrick, who's the Home Secretary, reforms Suella Braverman. They are responsible for our borders. They failed in the most horrific way with most horrific consequences. A restored Britain government will abolish the entire asylum system. No more asylum seekers. Anyone who entered our country illegally will be deported regardless of current status. Enough. Restore Britain will not fail you. And the reality is, while we have these, our neighbors, these Euro-cuck nations that are stabbing us in the back constantly with everything regarding our sovereignty and our country, these people are destroying their own countries, importing infinite retards to stab, maul, rape, and behead their own people with zero consequence. Thank God we have someone like Rubio out there being like, no, actually, you can't bring whoever the fuck you want into our country. It doesn't matter. Even if for a temporary time, we're not taking that chance. Why should we? Why do we owe you anything? And the answer that so many people are starting to realize is we fucking don't. All right, well, we got some good news, all right? I'm not just doom and gloom. We got a lot of fun stuff on the horizon. Lady Bird Books has published a happy pride image on Instagram featuring a Muslim woman in a hijab. Lady Bird is one of the UK's biggest children's books publishers, and its books are read by kids as young as 2. The image features a Muslim woman in a hijab carrying a baby alongside another woman. The caption reads, "Everyone should be free to themselves, no matter who they are or who they love." Reminder, homosexual acts are strictly forbidden in Islam. Yeah, dude, this is absolute cinema. So obviously, it's absolute insanity that we are literally grooming children with 2-year-old children's books, propaganda to teach them to lead perverted, aberrant lifestyles, because that's what they are. You don't get the tone policing here, and I just say it as it is. But animals in the animal kingdom do that too. Yeah, animals in the animal kingdom also fucking eat each other, okay? Hello? But it's natural. Yeah, revenge and murder is also technically natural, but we grow past that, actually. You know, listen, man.
12% of men who have sex with other men 1 or more times a week have problems where they are not able to control their bowel movements.
Because when you...
Well, why? If it's healthy, if it's perfectly healthy.
Yeah, so anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is, A, this is like actual retard propaganda for 2-year-olds, which is absolute insane and obviously grooming. But actually, this didn't piss off the conservatives. No. Unfortunately, conservatives are used to the fact that the entire globalist campaign throughout all of Europe and America and the West is basically trying to groom our children. We're used to that now, heartbreaking as it is to say. the Muslims got mad. No, the Muslims, they allied with the woke for so long. You know, they were freeing Palestine together, man. All right, like here you have Zach Polanski. This is a woke gay moron who's trying to free Marwan. All right, Marwan is a terrorist that orchestrated a suicide bombing and orchestrated the rape of Christian girls. He's a Palestinian terrorist prisoner who killed 5 civilians through terrorist attacks. And here we have Zach Polanski, leader of the English Green Party. That's right. That's the Muslims and the communists that they got together. It's LGBT and Islam. They are working together to overthrow Western civilization. That's what they have in common, by the way. Everyone keeps asking me, why do Muslims and queers and shit get along? What's queers for Palestine? Bro, that's chickens for KFC. How does that actually work? Well, it's actually really simple. They both hate Western civilization. They both hate the biblical values that our culture is founded upon, and they want it destroyed. So yeah, they work very well together in that regard. But all of a sudden, the Muslims are gaining power, and the retard, the queers are gaining power, and all of a sudden you have this shit. And the Muslims, they are very not happy to be included in this level of, let's just say, progressivism. Bro, it's a nightmare watching these people lie to you like this. They just manipulate and they lie. Like, here we have Mehdi Hassan doing some debate about how actually, you're probably confused. Actually, Muslims are much better to woke people than anybody else. And this is his explanation for the mass rapes that happened because of Muslim migration into England.
The big controversy in the UK over the boats, the small boats coming across the channel. Do you know what the top 3 nationalities are in those boats?
Tell me.
Iran, number 1.
Okay.
Afghanistan, number 2. Iraq, number 3. Now, Iran is a current war. Let's park Iran. But are you telling me we're not responsible for the mess in Afghanistan and Iraq? Come on.
Nope, we're not responsible for the fact that our civilizations are getting raped by third worlders that don't think rape is a bad thing, actually. I'm sorry, I don't think importing people that view women as objects actually is benefiting our societies that much, to be honest. I'm sorry, I don't think that importing people with a religion that believes that you could take white sex slaves, and that's perfectly acceptable according to your moral doctrine, I don't think that importing those people matter. And actually, I don't give a shit about the actual circumstances in your countries. That's not an excuse, actually, at all. I have zero moral obligation to extend my hand to get raped because you don't like a situation that happened. Now, I don't want to get into like the whole, Middle Eastern wars shit, but a lot of that was actually caused by the barbarians. There's a lot of rewriting of history going on now, and while I don't agree with the fact that we did those wars weren't purely on us, actually. These people have been barbaric savages that hated us and raped us and pillaged us for generations. So no, I don't think Islam is a friend to woke, and literally all the Islamic terrorism situations that have been going on is because we deserved it, because Muslims don't actually have free will or agency. Actually, they're just rape machines that we're importing into our countries. It's really all our fault, actually. But this is the retard take that we just have to live with. But it's honestly been pretty insane because the Islamoids are losing their mind over Pride Month. Because now that they are like a massive voting bloc in the UK, they have to like play along with like the gay people, and the actual Muslims are like, well, no, we're not doing that shit. Now, just as a disclaimer, our favorite returning character, Sneeko, all right, this guy is the only woke Muslim. All right, it's pretty incredible stuff.
Jesus wasn't brown. He had blue eyes. He was Aryan. You are a clown.
Bro, someone screenshot that. Nigga gave $10 to cope about being white. Dude, he was from Palestine. Read the Bible. It says he was a brown to olive-skinned Jew. He was Aryan.
Wait, the Jews are native to Palestine and the quote-unquote so-called Palestinians are colonizers? Damn, bro, woke too close to the sun on that one.
He's a Jew!
Yeah, it's pretty incredible stuff. Like, it's all about the identity politics with all these people. It's incredible. So, we found the one woke Muslim, guys. It's pretty diabolical. Now, all of London is attacking the mayor, because the mayor of London, Muslim, is like, oh, yes, woke, LGBT. And the Muslim community, which now has power, is like, no, we want to execute these people, actually. It's a pretty big twist.
What is up, guys? It is your friendly neighborhood dingo. And
yeah, so for those of you unaware, this guy is an ex-Muslim. He wears a mask because if he didn't, Muslims would kill him. Because if you leave Islam, they kill you. In fact, they consider it an honor killing. Yeah, it's an honor killing to just kill this guy because he has a different train of thought than you. Yeah, not compatible with Western civilization, I'd say.
As it is Pride Month, the civil war between Muslims and the left continues. In fact, it's taken such a funny turn now, I felt like I just had to make this video and share it with you guys. So we all know London has a mayor who is Muslim, Sadiq Khan, one of the most hated Muslim leaders in the world right now.
Yeah, he sucks.
Under his leadership, we've heard terms like, it's part and parcel of living in a city like London to expect terror attacks. To any normal person, such a statement is just completely and utterly absurd.
No, it's not absurd. Everyone that knows anything about history or law or Western civilization understands that when you get a Muslim mayor, you get terror attacks because the Muslims feel powerful and then they do that shit. And I mean, that's why we saw all those car rammings in New York and ISIS terrorists literally throwing IEDs. You know, like, it's to be expected.
These days, you know what? A city like London is just so full of that exact demographic that people don't even really care about it anymore. So to give you a bit of context, Sadiq Khan was actually in Mecca doing one of his pilgrimages. The pagan thing that Muslims actually do in Mecca.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he did that, and once Pride Month hit, he put out this statement, which is pretty funny. Let's see what he said. This Pride Month, London stands with our LGBTQI+ communities here and
what even
around
is
the
I?
world. I look forward to seeing hundreds of thousands of Londoners and visitors taken to our streets in celebration and solidarity for Pride in London on Saturday, the 4th.
Bro. Muslim guy sold out his religion for some woke brownie points. God damn, that's brutal.
Of July. Now, this is quite weird because, I mean, you could almost call Sadiq Khan a lipstick Muslim. That is someone who cherry picks, who picks and chooses which parts of the religion he actually wants to follow. But the vast majority of Muslims and Islam fundamentally rejects
You see, I think he views Islam as for what it is, a political ideology. No one wants to talk about it that way because people think it's a religion. In reality, it's a lot more of a political movement. It's a colonial movement, and it has these tenets built into it to help people stay and part of the fold, refuse to leave. If you leave, they'll kill you. Therefore, they can continue to grow. And they grow, they absorb more, and then whoever gets absorbed can't leave or they get executed. It's a gigantic colonial political movement, and Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan over here, views himself as participating in jihad. And he thinks that LARPing as a woke guy would help Islam further their goals. It's actually really obvious because they all do this.
Sexuality, and it is one of the gravest sins in the religion. Islam outlines exactly what needs to be done to homosexuals, and it is extremely explicit. So Five Pillars, which is one of the largest Islamic organizations in the UK, also an affiliate of the Muslim Brotherhood if you didn't know, put out this statement saying a few days after returning from Hajj, London Mayor Sadiq Khan posts this, and they actually go further. They put out this statement, and you've got to watch this video because it gets even funnier from this point onwards.
Yeah, bro, I love the retard on retard violence. It's my favorite thing.
To say.
Sadiq Khan, you baffle me. How does one go from just days ago being stood at the plains of Arafah on the best day of the year when Allah descended to the lowest heaven to hear the du'as of the Hujjaj, which you are
do these people actually believe all this? I'm just asking.
a part of, where I'm sure you asked Allah for his forgiveness, I'm sure you must have expressed your gratitude to Allah, and I'm sure you must have asked him for his guidance. To then, just days later, calling for the hundreds and thousands to gather on the streets of London to celebrate LGBTQ, something that is diametrically opposed to Islam.
Wait! You're telling me that queers for Palestine are actually just retarded? No, they must know something I don't.
What on earth would drive you to do that? See, what I think it is
political power. Takia. That's exactly what he's doing. He doesn't believe in this shit. He doesn't care about the LGBTQI+ community. He doesn't care if they get damned to hell or whatever. The goal is political power, so he has to look woke. It's like, why does every Muslim vote left? Like, they vote for abortion. Islam doesn't believe in abortion. They think abortion is murder. Why do they all vote left? Why do they all vote for the abortion candidates? Because they don't fucking care if you kill your kids. They're planning on conquering you anyway. All right? You know? So yes, I think that he is just a devout Muslim guy that doesn't mind preaching degeneracy to further his political goals and ambitions. And I think that actually fits within jihad.
His desperate attempts to be accepted. But you never will be accepted. So long as you claim to be Muslim and have a brown face, there will always be some resistance towards you.
It's racism! True! It's not the increase of terror attacks and rape gang cover-ups that make people upset that Sadiq Khan is mayor of London. It's not that London is literally a shithole right now. It's the brown face.
Regardless of which principles of Islam you give up in the process. And quite frankly, it's frustrating for the rest of us. When the likes of you in public places act as if values that are diametrically...
Listen, Muslims, I'm not telling you that you should kill Sadiq Khan, because I don't think you should, but I think you guys should start voting for the Jews. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, right? But it's not going to matter. These people have it in their mind. They're going to conquer the West. That's their goal.
Opposed to Islam, we are okay with, then it confuses people about what Muslims tolerate and don't tolerate.
Actually, you know what? I disagree with her. I think the left overall actually do accept Muslims, regardless of what their beliefs are.
Yeah.
Yes, this might apply to people who understand what Islam actually is, but to the left, these days, you know, with intersectionality and the fact that they just associate Islam with a brown person's religion, despite the fact that Islam has nothing to do with the race or your ethnicity, they would accept Islam and mass migration from Islamic countries because they don't believe there's anything wrong with this religion. Maybe 15 or 20 years ago, you had the classical liberals and people on the left who were really critical of Islam, and they were perhaps the loudest voices when it comes to critiquing Islam, but it is completely the opposite today. So this person is actually quite wrong. But it is also pretty funny. And look, guys, when the Red-Green Alliance is fighting, as they say, when your enemy is making a mistake, do not interrupt them. And in this case, the left and the Muslims who are fighting and will ultimately destroy each other, you don't want to interrupt this. You want to actually let it happen. You want them to go at each other. And I almost feel like the left needs to learn this lesson the hard way, because they refuse to look at the history. They refuse to look at what happened to Iranian leftists during the Iranian Revolution. They have refused to look at what Islam fundamentally teaches. They have refused to look at what Islam has been doing the past 1400 years. So the only way they can learn this lesson now is the hard way. And that is by these Muslims, the green side of this alliance, essentially turning on
No. Keep doing it, guys. It'll go better. You'll see. You'll see. It'll keep getting better and better and better. Continue preaching LGBTQ stuff, Mayor Sadiq Khan. We're rooting for you. Look, man, I don't like the Islamification, and I don't like the wokeification. So if these guys could eat each other, that's just an absolute colossal win.
I mean, we knew this was going to happen. It was so obvious to anybody watching. We saw the cracks, and you know what? A lot of these people, they thought they could just put a band-aid over it and it would go away. But it hasn't. And trust me, guys, this is going to get worse and worse and worse. Now, quick note before we move on, please remember to give the video a like and hit subscribe. The channel is almost entirely fan-supported, so if you want to support the work and the mission behind it, consider joining Patreon. That's what keeps the channel alive and gives you early access. It's completely ad-free and long-winded, uncensored videos, written articles, and member-only chats. Now, what's really exploded from that point onwards is... And I feel like this is because the left are just so up their own asses.
Bro, I love it so much. You don't understand how much I appreciate how retarded they actually are. Because the left doesn't actually have some sort of coherent ideology, they just believe that all humans should be exactly like them. And we should just be tolerant to no matter what form of degeneracy or retardation we actually walk in front of. And they're like, and the Muslims, they all vote left, so they must agree. It's like, no, they vote left because the left is destroying our civilization. And the Muslims are smart enough to know that. And they also want to destroy our civilization, so they vote left. It's that simple, actually. All right, the left and the Muslims work together because they have the same stated goal of obliteration of Western civilization. You think just because Muslims vote for left, they support gay people? Dog, they will execute the shit out of you the moment they come into power. And the left, they import infinite Muslims, and they know they're going to get votes because they're going to push their communist shit to give free stuff to the Muslims, and the Muslims will be like, well, take the free shit, actually. That sounds fantastic. Oh my God, it's just, and eventually the Muslim group gets big enough, and the leftoids step on their toes enough with their woke bullshit, and you get fucking civil war. It's just insane watching the dam burst.
They just don't want to listen. They don't want to look into Islam. They don't want to listen because they're just so scared of being labeled racist or Islamophobic or whatever the fuck it is. But the left, they put out a book, and this is so funny to me because this is so far-fetched. This just does not happen. I don't think there's a single hijab-wearing woman, and look at the way she's dressed. There's not a single couple like this. Maybe the one or two in the entire world where it is a Muslim hijabi in a lesbian relationship with a white woman. And they have also gone ahead and what seems like they've adopted a baby or something. This is absurd. Like, this is bordering on levels of delusion that should not even be possible. So they put this out, and oh man, it sent the Muslims into a fury. You know, they've got the Spartan rage from war happening to them right now. And I don't know if the Red-Green Alliance can really recover from this. So guess
what? Bro, they can't. It's inevitably going to get destroyed. Now, my guess is eventually Islam is actually going to conquer them. See, that's the interesting thing. So they think that they're importing Muslims to vote for their communism shit. In the reality is they're importing Muslims. The Muslims are each having 6-7 kids, 6-7, and they're having none because they're aborting them. And eventually they're just going to become a minority and get completely swallowed by these guys. Right? They don't realize that they're just useful idiots to push their cringe ideology, and it's just gonna die the moment Sharia takes over. Right? The funny thing is, it's a self-solving problem. The issue is the other problem that will rise up that we'll need to deal with.
The same lady from Five Pillars decided to put out yet another video addressing this book. Let's listen to what she has to say.
So Ladybird is making a concerted attempt to teach our kids from as young as the age of 2 that LGBTQ
Wait, now the Muslims have a problem with left woke shit? That's so funny. That is so funny, actually. Wow. See, I'm surprised. It's literally so good. Now Islam has an issue with the woke bullshit. Well, the woke bullshit was all fine when they were, you know, not grooming your children and they were only grooming our children. But now they're grooming your children too, and they don't like that. Damn, that's pretty wild.
Values are okay in Islam, and that's why you see a Muslim woman depicted in hijab holding a baby.
Are you a bigot, Muslim lady? Are you actually just a bigot? Wait, are you telling me that the left imported homophobes from the third world? It's people on the right being like, stop importing rapists. People on the left be like, stop importing homophobes.
Standing alongside another woman. Now, we know that this is not compatible with Islam, and we wouldn't be teaching our kids.
Yeah, Islam is not compatible with us. Dude, this is amazing, because both of these ideologies suck.
But unfortunately, as Muslims now, we need to be aware more than ever of what could be being taught to our children.
Yes.
So this book is...
I think you should leave, honestly. I think you should fucking go back to the sand village. All right, figure that shit out there.
Like I said, from the age of 2. So that means a 2-year-old is being sent to nursery in the month.
They don't teach this shit in Pakistan. I feel like the West is just too degenerate for you guys, and y'all should leave.
Right, could well be being read this book by their nursery teachers.
Oh God!
And it's something that Muslim parents need to be aware of. So whereas before you may not even have thought about having these conversations with your children just because of their age.
We're gonna start getting anti-woke Muslims soon in England. In America, Islam is not enough of a majority that they could do this, but in Islam, they have voting power. Their voice actually matters politically, as terrifying as that sounds. So they're gonna start swallowing each other.
And you want to protect their innocence. There is a mass attempt to infiltrate your child's mind, and you need to be aware of that.
True.
And you need to be the first person to explain to them what is okay in Islam and what isn't. Now that doesn't mean
the Muslims keep voting for the pro-gay marriage candidates until there's enough Muslims, and then they'll fucking kill the gays. It's fucking insane. No one ever saw this coming.
We can't live alongside people who practice LGBTQ values in peace, but it's not something that aligns with Islamic morals and principles, and that's just the fact.
Yeah, sounds like two groups of people who just simply can't coexist. And this is exactly what everyone's been trying to say. You cannot coexist with a group of people where, in the countries which they come from, execute people like you. The vast majority of countries in the world right now who execute, who imprison people for life, who do this to homosexuals, they are Islamic countries. Now, you can try and appease the Islamic community by putting this book out thinking, oh, guess what? The LGBTQ community is so diverse. It now includes hijabi lesbians.
Yeah!
You're not going to appease anyone. You're not going to appeal to anyone with a campaign like that. In fact, you're going to anger them even more, as you can see. Don't get it twisted. It is in countries, in secular countries, with a Christian heritage. In Europe, in North America, in Australia, these are the only countries that have generally been extremely pro-LGBTQ.
Unfortunately.
No other place. No other countries are like this. And if you don't think that is the case, you need to travel more. And if you don't think Muslims, even in your countries, actually believe these things, how about you just go and speak to them? Now, this person's saying at 2 years old, they don't want to hear about this at any age. At any age. And I think this was really obvious when there was the same-sex marriage plebiscite here in Australia. And when you looked at the people who voted no, they were all entirely concentrated in parts of Western Sydney that were overwhelmingly Islamic. And guess what? The left in this country covered that up too. They did not want to talk about sex. Now, what's funny is Rupert Locke.
Wow, there is no way. There was enough of a Muslim presence in Australia to get together to vote against gay marriage. And they basically were like, the far-right Christians are voting against gay marriage and stuff. And they didn't mention the Muslims because they wanted the Muslims to sound better to, like, the libtards, so the libtards could keep voting to import more Muslims. You can't make this shit up. Like, this is an actual suicidal civilization. It's insane to look at. It's absolutely wild.
Oh, actually decided to weigh in on this matter where he says, aggressive Muslim lobby groups getting annoyed about woke gay cartoons is objectively hilarious. It is. It is one of the funniest things I've seen. And the thing is, we've all said this was going to happen. It was inevitable to anybody who was paying attention, to anybody who understood even 5% of Islamic doctrine. They would know that this was inevitable. And if you go to the quotes, we can see this battle playing out as well. So here we have someone saying, if 5 pillars in their lives are so offended by the existence of gay people, then maybe they should move to a society that shares their views rather than demanding everyone else conform to theirs. Now, with the communist symbol here, this seemingly is a left-wing person. However, it is crazy that this is usually the type of thing someone on the right or someone with a little bit of common sense would say. If you don't like secularism or diversity or values or whatever it is, then perhaps it's best you move back to
Move back to who gives a fuckistan, and we will move on. It'll be awesome.
Or Bangladesh or Syria. That probably probably is a better fit for you. And I do think you should, in fact, move back and take your family with you as well. And there's more people. She can fuck off. See the Palestine flag in there? Yeah, someone else.
Many
Here's
such
what for
cases.
real. Do we have any sane heads left in the UK Muslim activist community? So
Brother, the Muslim activist community. I love the LARP, bro. I love the LARP. Dude, the Palestine movement is an absolute fucking psyop, and everyone that fell for it. The Muslims obviously like it because it stirs up shit and makes people hate the West. But any American or Westerner that fell for the Palestine psyop is like actually fucking retarded.
Khan is the mayor of London who happens to be Muslim. That's his personal faith, and you idiots are implying he should enforce Islamic values onto Londoners. This is so stupid. Now, this person has an Arabic name. Perhaps they don't know what they're talking about, but Islam has never existed as a personal faith. It has always existed as a political system. There is no separation between state and religion in Islam. It is a complete totalitarian system. The sooner people like this person and the rest understand that, the better, because then you understand what you're dealing with. And it is their failure that they do not understand why people are so angry about Sadiq Khan doing that. Because these Muslims believe that Sadiq Khan is a heretic. Some people honestly might believe he's an apostate. Then we can go on just literally
shit.
everybody else.
Dude, listen. I'm just saying, I don't want this to happen. But like, I have to say, if there's like some sort of Muslim honor killing attack on Sadiq Khan for not being Muslim enough, that would be the most fucking London situation I've ever heard in my life. Muslim guy tries to kill Sadiq Khan. I don't think you have, mate.
Saying, if you don't want to live in a secular society, don't live in a secular society. So the stuff essentially people on the right would generally say to these people. That's what the left is saying now.
Dude,
Look, guys,
that's crazy.
This is honestly, I see good news, I would think.
Yeah, that's
awesome. The
awesome.
sooner the left understand, the sooner they learn this lesson, the better. As I always say, if you want to reduce these issues, you need to reduce the number of immigrants from Islamic countries, because they're not coming to coexist or assimilate. This legitimately is a form of conquest in Islam. Sure. And now it seems like everybody, right? The left, center, whatever you are, seems everybody is finally learning.
I have to say, I am absolutely baffled that the Islamic rape gangs didn't tip the left off that maybe there's a problem. But homophobia made the left crash the fuck out. Like, it just shows how far the left is removed from God. Women and children getting raped, terror attacks all the times, beheading on the streets. All right. And, the left be like, no, actually, you're just racist to notice that. White people do bad things, too. And then it's like, them be like, no, actually, I really don't like that you're depicting a Muslim in a hijab being a lesbian. And they're like, holy fuck, deport, deport, get them out.
Their lesson. And on that note, that's all I have for today. If you enjoyed that video, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment.
Holy shit, what a fucking ride. Now, there's some really interesting lawsuits going on that we need to be talking about as well. They're in stories we've covered in the past, and I do a deep dive on all of the things every day. So we got to talk about this. So this guy over here, Reckless Ben, the guy who's making all those incredibly viral videos on all these, the Lego company, the gigantic Lego company that was allegedly stealing money from old people, refusing to give it back, working with the police, and by working with, I mean, paying the police and getting them corrupt, and basically getting them to break the law and arrest and harass people that were innocent, that were just asking basic questions, classic shenanigans. Thank God for civilian journalism that this was exposed, that this corruption is out there, and now apparently they're suing the crap out of him. He just released this video titled Bad News, so this is probably going to be bad news. Then we have to look at Hassan Piker's lawsuits, because honestly, it looks like he's going to get himself absolutely eviscerated. All right, we got a lot to look into right now. Let's see what's happening.
Episode 3 is finally finished after crazy all-nighters and basically destroying my health. But I can't post it or I will go to jail. And
oh, shit.
Not only that, I will also immediately lose my lawsuit of $300,000, and the GoFundMe we made for Brian will go straight to this mystery company that...
He can't say bricks and minifigs anymore. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're silencing him. They're actually suing him. They're putting the weight of a, multi-million-dollar company to squash a YouTuber that criticized them. This is the most unconstitutional shit ever, by the way.
I am no longer allowed to talk about. They sent court papers to my email, which I guess a judge approved for them that this was a valid form of service. And so now that
again, for all you know, that judge is homies or part of. Like, listen, I know that this is the whole Mormon conspiracy, the Brick of Mormon. But it kind of seems like you got all these people. You got the cops that are part of the same Mormon church as the CEOs, at the same Mormon church as the people working in these stores, and they're all kind of working together. And again, I'm not blaming all Mormons for this, obviously, but it is very obvious that there is some sort of corruption going on there. Listen, I thought the worst Mormon corruption I ever saw was like those MLM schemes, but this is way darker, and it's insane because most Mormons are like super nice people. But this ends up happening, and you're like, wait a second. So you're telling me this like actual, cultural overlap and community are just looking out for each other, bending the rules of America to their whim to destroy people that criticize them? For all you know, this judge is just part of that group as well.
Officially served, I cannot even mention this company or I will be in jail and everything. Normally I would be like, screw the big guy telling me what to do. I'm going to do what's morally right. But in this situation, if I do that, then all my friends get screwed with this lawsuit.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. He's right. Oh, frick, dude. Just actually squashing him.
And we lose all the GoFundMe money we raised, like, immediately. So I am no longer allowed to even mention this mystery company. My personal opinion is that this is unfair because this order was put on me because this company was telling the court that I was making bomb threats. I was planning on murdering the manager and employees, which obviously I didn't do, and you can see that in the footage. The only problem is I was not given a chance to share my side. The court just heard their...
Dude, I fucking hate the way the court systems are set up in America. I'm not gonna lie, this shit needs to get torn to shreds and rebuilt. Like, we got corrupt judges, obviously, but dude, everything takes so long. You get the court to shut one party down just by hearing one side of the case. It's absolute horseshit. Like, when I think about court cases, the way they should be set up, I think of the Book of Kings. Yeah, two mothers go up to King Solomon, the wise, and they each said, hey, this baby is my baby, one mom said. And the other mom said, no, this baby is my baby. And King Solomon looked at them and was like, you're saying that this is your baby, and you're saying that this is your baby, and the mom's confirmed. Then he was like, okay, we'll cut the baby in half and give half baby to each mom. And then one mom was like, okay, and the other mom was like, what the fuck? That's insane. No, I'd rather just give the baby to the other lady. Just don't hurt the baby. And King Solomon was like, okay, that must be yours. It's like, it's basic and it's logical and it's like obviously good morals there. But the truth of the matter is, he did not hear one side of the story before he heard the other. People had an issue. They immediately show up before the judge, or in this case, the king. They both tell their side and the judge immediately gives a verdict. Like the idea that you have these cases that could last years, costing millions in lawyers' fees, where the judge could completely strangle one party because of what they heard from the other party, is not only unconstitutional, but it's evil. This screws his entire career, by the way. While he's wrapped up in this lawsuit and he can't mention bricks and minifigs, aside from the fact that he can't make his next few videos, what the fuck is he supposed to do? He's wanted for the police. He's tied up in a lawsuit. He can't do his journalism job anymore. He can no longer cover the story that's happening. His career is cooked. It's on a back seat, and he is destroyed until he survives this, which could take years going up against a giga company like this. That fucking sucks, dude.
Perspective, not mine. So because I wasn't able to share my side, I am now no longer allowed to talk about them, and looks like this might be it. So yeah.
Damn, bro, that's brutal. Absolutely brutal. The funny part is, like, this is the most obvious admission of guilt possible by bricks and minifigs, the idea that they're just going to be like, oh, you're criticizing me? I'm going to use the power of billions of dollars and corrupt judges to silence the shit out of you and torture you and get you arrested and stuff. Their reputation is never coming back. This is purely an ego check at this point. They just want to make his life hell. Absolutely heartbreaking, but at least I could cover this shit. Bricks and Minifigs didn't sue me yet, so, I could still talk about this, but this is a nightmare. Now, Hassan also apparently, he's trying to get to sue Pegasus, which is crazy. He threatened to sue me before also, but now apparently he's threatening to sue Pegasus because Pegasus made a bunch of videos on him. Apparently he wants Pegasus to get murdered and executed for his coverage of Hassan. I thought Hassan liked journalism.
This is another one of those channels, right? This is like another one of those drama channels.
A massive day for the unemployed.
Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
Hassan Parker here is beefing more Pegasus, and he's almost threatening to sue him.
You should...
Bro, he does the same thing all the time. He just thinks that he's an infinite power, and he's just gonna manipulate you and discombobulate you and shit. Right? That's what he thinks. He thinks that he could just bully anyone, and for the most part he can. Because his fans are savage monsters. Listen, the amount of death threats I got from Hassan people is absolutely insane. So I think, for the most part, he thinks he could just bully people into silence and submission. And the reality is, a lot of people just don't like terrorists. What's this?
Like maybe 2 others that aren't about Hassan. All the rest of them are about him. The Legendary series. Yeah, so whatever happened to be... So I remember Hassan is like a certain percentage done. Oh, that's me. And
yeah, that was me, guys. My bad, that was me. Yeah, he threatened me too, actually. He threatened me too, many such cases. But all right, let's see how badly this dude gets obliterated.
Pegasus, and he's almost threatening to sue him.
You should report that person to the authorities in Singapore. They have extremely strict laws against cyber harassment and spreading misinfo on the internet.
Yeah, but what if it's not misinfo? All right, but what if it's not misinfo, and what if... This is so weird. But what if he's not lying? What if it's not harassment? It's journalism, guys. He's doing a journalism.
If you know...
Hassan Piker is like talking to a Houthi terrorist, and he's like, you are doing what Luffy would do. Right? And he considers that journalism. But here you have a guy criticizing a guy who's glazing terrorists, and he's like, he is harassing me.
Like a good Singaporean lawyer, it'd be nice to try and figure out if I could pursue litigation of sorts.
Don't know who More Pegasus is? Well, he's a fellow slop tuber who's an expert in anything regarding Hassan. He's made like 300 videos of this.
Entire content is just covering how I'm gonna be jailed and arrested and prosecuted and my life is over. Like that's all he does.
That sounds awesome. I support content like that.
Alarming, scary, and worrisome. Same. That's how I feel too.
No, it's not.
It's kind of funny. It goes on.
It's so funny because he has nothing redeemable about him. But
I mean, I guess more people watch him than watch you, Hassan. Well, he gets more views than you do.
The pure animus that drives a lot of dudes that...
No. It's patriotism. We actually don't like terrorists.
Look like him, I guess.
What do you mean by that?
It's because Pegasus is black? What is wrong with you?
He's watching right now on Discord server, probably. I mean, hey... You got noticed by your king, by your god.
What's a high-tier human to a low-tier god?
Wait, don't get the guy... I don't think there's a death penalty for this. And also that I would not be in favor of. Are you insane?
Hey, he's a bad guy, but he isn't the bad guy, you know? Killing Pegasus is a teeny bit too far.
Anyway, honestly, it's pretty insane to even think about that.
Hassan uploaded this video called More Pegasus Just Ruined His Life and Pegasus Struck Back.
35 years old. I hope to actually, start a family and live a peaceful life rather than argue with people 10 years younger than me like a miserable loser, dude.
To be fair, you did make 300 videos.
Yeah, and he made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Listen, man, if Hassan would stop glazing terrorists, people would stop talking about it. I'm so tired of this coverage. This coverage sucks. Everyone that talks about this is retarded. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, I can't believe you made so many videos. I can't believe you're Islamophobic. I can't believe you keep talking about Muslims doing terror attacks. Stop doing fucking terror attacks and it'll stop being Islamophobic. Islamophobia would drop the moment y'all stop raping people, okay? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? It's like, man, I can't believe you talk about Assad so many times. Well, that motherfucker is doing the craziest shit I've ever seen every day.
Very based.
Well, to the Singaporean authorities, I would like to report. I am very scared. I feel very threatened that...
Bro is actually trying to get Pegasus executed in Singapore. That's crazy.
This person has made 358 videos on me. This is alarming. 363, sorry. It's alarming. It's very scary. I was intending to visit Singapore soon.
Dog, you would get banned from Singapore. They banned you from England, and that place is that is the capital of Islamabad. All right, what are we even talking about? Bro, you got banned from what the fuckistan? You think they're going to let you into Singapore, dude?
And now
I don't know why there's no Islamic terror attacks in Singapore? Because they fucking cane people. All right, that's why there's no Islamic terror attacks. You know why there are Islamic terror attacks in England? Because they basically cover for the Muslims. And them, the absolute cucked out, libtard British people didn't let you in. You think Singapore is going to let you in?
I don't even know if I could do that. It's truly a terrifying prospect for me.
Instead of addressing any argument, he tries to call me chopped.
Does this every time.
And tells me to make positive videos. Like him, of course.
How can I be okay?
And trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
He then
you
pulls
ain't
up
seen nothing.
My Instagram trying to make fun of my appearance, but it instantly backfires when he finds out that I'm actually jacked.
Frame mogged. Hassan then found my channel and oh boy.
Yeah, this guy only did one video on me, to be fair. Hassan just finished on he cried. Hassan just got finished on, he cried.
True. True.
He's Canadian. What?
Okay, you know what? That's too far, dude. Even for you, Matt.
Where he's threatening to actually sue me. Apparently, he's also telling his fans to falsely report me to the authorities to get me to stop talking about him.
Again, he's singling out more Pegasus just because he's black.
More Pegasus made a dozen videos about you in the past few days. I love that guy.
Dude,
that guy is my favorite YouTuber, honestly.
I love how he's like, he's my favorite YouTuber. I love him. Anyway, I hope the Singaporean police executes him. That's Hassan.
If I could pursue litigation of sorts.
This virgin chimed in, reacting to stream clips and Reddit posts isn't cyber stalking. Maybe he could make the argument for harassment, but he's a public figure. Comes with the territory.
Intentionally causing harassment, alarm, or distress. Singapore statutes online. An individual or entity must not, with intent, cause harassment, alarm, or distress to another person called in this section, the target person by any means, use any threatening, abusive, or insulting words or behavior, make any threatening, abusive, or insulting communication, or publish any identity information of the target person or a related person of the target person.
And again, I'm not a lawyer, obviously. I'm a f***er, but I don't think Pegasus did any of that. And oh boy, are the comments.
The funniest thing is, like, he just wants to come up with an excuse to execute his enemies. This is the least surprising update from Diddy Piker I've ever seen. Like, bro, this just popped up in my feed, like, literally while we're doing this.
Every single person on this list.
Is it me?
If you were to try to explain their positions to a random person in the real world, or what they do, or the space that they occupy online, most people in the real world would look at you like, what do you mean a cartoon pedophile Nazi that defends Israel unconditionally?
He's talking about Nux Taku. Honestly, Nux has made so many videos about him, I can see why he's pressed about it. Like, there's really been a lot of Hassan videos.
I mean, I would stop if he'd stop, supporting terrorists, shocking his dog, and sleeping with alleged 15-year-olds in brothels. It's like, dude, every video I make is content that he has so graciously decided to give me. But, like, I love how in one sentence he just slanders the absolute shit out of me. I'm not a pedophile, obviously. I love how he calls me a Nazi also. I guess because I'm right-wing, and I don't support Israel unconditionally. Like, I don't support the LGBT stuff. I support bombing the shit out of terrorists in Gaza. But I don't support the LGBT stuff. I'm like, I'm the reverse normal human, I guess. But yeah, so, like, every time, like, I see this guy in my feed, he slanders the fucking shit out of me. He calls me a pedophile Nazi in front of his army of retarded viewers, and he does this to everyone. He'll never engage with any points that are ever made against him. He just brings you up, he lies about you, and then you get tons of death threats because his audience of terrorists, they fucking hate you, obviously.
Hilarious on Pegasus's channel. Pegasus has become a main character confirmed.
Ace.
I don't negotiate with terrorist supporters. Have me LMFAO. This virgin said 9/11 for the unemployed.
This is my goat. This is my goat. Oh, he's on a journey. He's on a journey of self-improvement. Know thyself. Road to Greek god. Singapore. He is in Singapore. And he is actually... Okay, respect. Debunking the no pants allegations. Okay, Pegasus. Okay, Pegasus, you win this round. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Again, I don't think Hassan is that bad of a guy. Like, put your pitchforks...
I do. I think he needs to get deported. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, when you support every terrorist organization you could possibly think of, you're probably not a great guy.
Away, let me explain. People paint him like the Antichrist, but here he is, giving props to somebody who clearly he doesn't like. Deep down in the shell, there is a human being.
There are a lot of people on the Hasanabi hate industrial complex, right? I think you might be the top dog.
I'm telling you, there's levels to this shit. I'm just a small fish.
Yeah, this guy only did one video on me, to be fair.
I feel like a beta. I gotta up my numbers.
It seems kind of obsessive. It seems kind of like cyber stalking. Not entirely certain if that's there's a statute for cyber stalking in general. Public threats, long-term harassment.
Where the fuck were there public threats? All right, listen, Hassan Piker will go out there and be like, I support terror organizations that want to eradicate all Jews. And then I'll be like, I actually don't like that Hassan Piker says that. Then Hassan will pull me up on his stream, he'll call me a pedophile and a Nazi, and then he'll get his audience to fucking harass me. But I am the bad guy. Like, it's insane.
Daily videos that he's monetizing. I hope someone in the Singaporean authorities could potentially look into this
Pinning the authorities on a dude who made videos on you is a bit crazy, but let's go on.
Why are you concerned about a slop tuber?
Prison time. It's the same thumbo that he uses. I love that guy. That guy is my favorite YouTuber, honestly.
And I get why Hassan is mad, but like, I'm not the person you should be mad at. It should be yourself. Because like, dude, I just covered the news of like random people talking. If you weren't like a big topic, I wouldn't talk about you.
And again, Pegasus covers Hassan the content creator, not Hassan the person. There is a distinction there. And again,
I cover both. That guy fucking sucks. He needs to get deported.
I respect Pegasus's grind set, but to me, this is a tad bit unemployed. You know what I mean? I'll cover the big events of him zapping his dog, but the daily doings of this dude's life is kind of boring.
He supports terrorism every day. Every day he supports terrorism.
Hassan's piece doesn't even have half the views as Pegasus's response, despite Hassan having more than double the subscribers. Why is Hassan's foothold on YouTube so poor? This should be a platform that he does well on.
Because Pakistani bots that watch his content and scream from the rooftops when he preaches for the revolution actually don't give a flying fuck about YouTube views. It's why people like Sneeko have 0 views on YouTube and no motion. They're there to watch the short, you know, Twitter clips. They're going to leave a like and move on. They're going to beef up, pump up those numbers. They're not actually going to sit there and watch a fucking YouTube video. They have 67 IQ and they're inbred. All right, that's the Hassan audience. It's terrorists. You think terrorists want to hear his actual geopolitical opinions? That's why Asmongold and Hassan, who are, you know, roughly the same size on Twitch. Asmongold is bigger, obviously. But they're roughly the same size. You've moved to YouTube and Asmongold gets literally 10 times his views. Like, per video. It's not even funny.
Get owned, bro.
Okay, it is funny.
Realistically, it's because a lot of his audience might not be familiar with Pegasus, so obviously the views aren't going to translate.
At least he's more versatile, it seems. Like, he actually covers, like, other shit, too. He hates BB No Money. Idiot, it calls them. Pokimane, he hates, of course. Who do these guys like?
You, bro. This is the internet. It really isn't that deep. I don't hate a single person except myself. Imagine making Pokimane videos to pay your bills. Yeah, exactly. Back to Hassan's crash out.
That he's monetizing. I hope someone in the Singaporean authorities could potentially look into this. I'm glad that there is a Protection from Harassment Act of 2014. Check Section 7, unlawful stalking. Wait, ooh, let's look at that one. He is alarming, scary, and worrisome. Same, that's how I feel too.
You're a decade older than the guy, and you live like 3,000 miles away from him. Stop pretending you're scared.
Look, he just says it because he can basically, if he says that he's actually scared of bodily harm, then the Singaporean authorities will actually view the stalking as something serious. That's why he's playing that up. It's because while he's making believe he's being sarcastic, he absolutely wants Pegasus to get executed by the Singaporean government. And I think everyone actually knows that when they watch this.
He is, and I love him, but also am now
like,
scared.
This is Hassan Piker, who's like crashing out that he's banned from England. Like for some reason, like England is supposed to automatically accept every person that wants to enter their country when they support terrorism and shit. So he's banned from England. He crashes out. He says it's a violation of freedom of speech or something. And now a guy that criticizes him on the internet, he wants him to get executed in Singapore. Like, you understand the level of retard you're dealing with?
Of him. Initially, I was like, wow, how wonderful. This must be a fan page. And then I realized he's exhibiting stalker-like behavior and also defaming me and causing great injury to me psychologically. And I don't like that. I am scared.
I am scared.
Also, sure, Hassan, I agree. Let's get a gym session in Singapore together.
Yeah, Hassan is not going to be allowed into Singapore.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. Will Twitch streamer Hassan Piker be able to enter Singapore? It is highly unlikely.
Pegasus went through the AI, and basically because Hassan was banned from the UK, he might not be allowed to enter Singapore.
Obviously, because he supports terrorism.
You know, take it with a grain of salt. It is AI. It could be wrong.
I was so excited to lift some weights with my buddy Hassan, but unlucky, man.
They have to get a gym session together. I would pay to see that.
Favorite. There's this like Indian dude on YouTube, and
he introduces me as, oh, this Indian guy. Huh. So what did you mean by that? Have you like primed your audience to be bigoted or something? Because like, why would that be even relevant or something? Like, because I don't know, when you introduce Asmongold, you're not like, oh, this white guy. I mean, he did call India a rogue terrorist state, so.
And he'd be cooking because honestly, a lot of the times these leftist guys are the ones who end up being the most racist.
Is a 6'5" black dude scare you more than a 6'5" white dude?
No. Is it supposed to?
She's from Israel. She doesn't know what it's like.
Uh,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yes. For legal reasons, that's a joke.
What sort of problem do you got with Canadians, Hassan?
He's Canadian. What?
And again, I feel like he should be flattered by this instead of scared and terrified.
I am scared.
Pegasus never goes after this dude's personal information or anything of that sort. It's all just stupid stuff covering clips of this dude's own Twitch stream. You are 48 years old to start a family.
America deserved 9/11, dude. F it.
Fortunately, we ran out of time for this video.
Yeah, dude, just absolutely miserable, bro. These guys fucking suck. In conclusion, Hassan is going to get what's coming for him. He does want his critics to get executed in public. He does slander everyone that he's up against, and he never engages with any talking points because he's a terror-supporting fuck. Dude, the entire internet is clowning on him. Like, the left, the right, everyone fucking hates this guy. Every single party, political party that Hassan attaches his name to just loses because actually no one wants to vote for the party that just openly endorses terrorism. Listen, the left in America might be chopped, but they're not fucking Al-Qaeda yet. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This was today's deep dive on all of the things. Definitely subscribe for more deep dive every day. Another deep dive. I'll see you in the next one. Big kisses, everybody. Tell your mom you love her. We covered Iran. We covered New York. We covered the United Kingdom. We covered gay Muslims. It's been absolutely diabolical. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.